All right, you see, I'm on YouTube, chilling. See, guys. So I want you to go over to the YouTube, and that's where we're gonna hang out for possibly the next 2-3 hours. It depends on how I feel, but yeah, guys, go over to my YouTube link, and that's where we're gonna hang out, and I'm gonna hang out with you guys now. All right. So check it real soon. See you soon, guys. Soon. All right. Appreciate it. All right. So welcome everybody back. Welcome everybody back to the channel. So give me a second, guys. I just want to share my post on what you call it on Instagram. So pretty much what I'm doing today is, number one, if you have already seen the thumbnail, yes, there will be a YouTuber meet with some of your favorite YouTubers, and I got this hot sweater on. So if you guys if you guys want to check out the Teespring account below, let me see. Check out the Teespring account below for any Boost in Motion merch. So I'm very hot because I'm wearing a long sleeve in the house, so I didn't really think that one out. I messed myself up by doing that, right? All right. What's going on, man? What's going on, Ali? As you guys come into the chat, just hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. I know it's a little early. If you are West Coast, it's probably a little early. It's probably like 10 o'clock right now. So some of you guys are waking up like, why is Boost live at 10 a.m.? What's wrong? It's Saturday, man. I was drinking last night, and I get it. This is not liquor, this is water, because it's still early. We're drinking later. Diamond, what's going on, man? What's going on? What's going on, Regis? Came from Instagram. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate that. Hayes, what's going on? Hayes in the building. And so it's 9 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, it's early. So yeah, I assume you guys are probably mad in Cali right now. You're okay. What's going on? Hey, it's the 2017 guy. I was thinking about doing resonator delete. Do not do resonator delete, bro. Just get a proper CATBACK exhaust. You already started off with a muffler delete. Get a proper CATBACK exhaust. At some point, you're going to be like, oh, man, I should have just got a CATBACK exhaust. To save your time and money and look into different exhaust options on YouTube from different sounds, and that's it. And just pay the money. There's few options at like $700-800, and some go up to $2,000 to $3,000. It's up to you. Just aim for the sound. It saves you so much time. What's going on, Twan? Daily Q50 in the chat. One of the fastest Q50s on the track. Boy, what's going on, man? All right, 11 here. Okay, Kenji, it's 12. Okay, so yeah, I'm Eastern time. I'm in Brooklyn, so 12 o'clock. Slack Q, what's Gucci, boy? Chilling, man. Chilling, my brother. What's going on, man? Low DA track time today. Hopefully you can get 10.6. Yeah, you could probably get 10.6, and it's getting so much more cooler outside. VH37 in the chat. What up, my dude? Beast, what's going on, man? Lower down pipes or full down pipes? I would always recommend lower down pipes. They're way more affordable. I mean, yes, people will sit there and say full down pipes will give you higher peak wheel horsepower at the higher RPM, and plus they really want to hear that turbines noise, the turbines of the turbos, which it's intoxicating. But I'm still against full down pipes because not every tuner knows how to tune properly on full down pipes, and some of you guys just go full down pipes and don't give an F about your car. So I'd rather protect the car. So lower down pipes, and a lot of people tune with them, and it's so much more easier. Keith says, "What's good, Boost? I'm still here, bro, even with the Stinger." Man, nothing wrong with that, Keith. The Stinger's great, brother. Like, listen, Stinger's a great car, and it's one of the most versatile cars out there. It has way more features and way more room than the Q50. So you still got a good car, man. Love that car. Mike, what's going on, man? Only because Qzilla haven't hopped on the track yet. Oh, shoot. I can hear some Q50 rivalry. Yeah, there's a lot of other Qs that have been doing really good on Dragy that really haven't hit the track. So once they hit the track, hopefully if they do, if they're the type of guys, they could probably push these 10s a lot lower. John, what's going on, man? Make sure you drop the likes. Yes, guys, as you guys come into the chat, just hit the likes. You know, it's early morning for some of you guys who live in Cali, 9-10 o'clock. If you're in the Eastern time, it's probably 12. I actually have some guys who are from Australia and Europe that follow me, so I don't know if they're even catching this live right now. It might be a little later in the day. Might have to pull up the GA, man. Yeah, appreciate that. I just got a JB4. What can I do to make sure I'm using it safely? Well, at Zaki, pretty much they already have their preset maps, and there's a few sites already, and I have videos about what maps to use with your specific car. So you can definitely check it under 3.0 Team maps on the boostinmotion or Red Sport maps on the boostinmotion. Those preset maps are good to go. You're not going to run into any issues. Always check the oil in these cars. You guys don't check the oil in your cars. It's a turbo car. You know what I'm saying? There may be a few cars who may have issues with oil consumption. You guys would just beat on the car in 110-degree weather, and then boom, you're like, this car's reliable, but you were beating on it with no oil. Going to do a G37 or what? Drive to love this car. I'm very confused, Mike Lee. You're going to do the G37 or what? To be honest with you, Mike Lee, because New York City is super annoying when registering cars. Two, it's very hard to find affordable G37s. I'm still against paying $10,000 for a G37, like 2008. I'm super against that. Like, it doesn't make sense. That car should be 5K, but I'm still seeing 8 to 10K. I've been starting to see 6Ks, but they're automatics. Remember, I want a manual. Even a guy, shout to this guy from Chicago, hit me up. He's selling his 2011 IPL. I think he had a oxygen sensor code, and the car has like 250,000 miles. And I was gonna buy it, and I was gonna get it shipped, but it wasn't manual. And he was gonna sell it to me for a really good. Listen, guys, a steal, but it was automatic, and I didn't see the sense in. I know I could have bought it, fixed it up a little bit, fix up the oxygen sensor code, probably made it look nice and then resold as a profit. But I'd rather not get automatic. I'd rather get manual. But at the end of the day, shout out to one of my followers. He was straight up. He was like, yo, low key, Boost is probably going to get the q60 before the G37 because his lease is up in 3 months. And I was like, it's kind of right, because it doesn't make sense for me to have 2 G37s. But you know what? At the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen, man. Even I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just literally taking it day by day when it comes to this. Right now, my car is the same way it is. I literally haven't done nothing to it. Let me shout out a little. I got 37 you guys watching. If you guys haven't noticed the thumbnail, well, the thumbnail is pretty much what it is. There's going to be a big YouTubers meet with Enthusiast POV, Speed Culture Studios, Nowhere TM, and me. I'm going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, November 7th. I have to put the details in this location, in this bio, or whatever the case might be, where I'm going to be with these other 3 good YouTubers. And we're going to meet, but it's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, November 7th. Pretty much it will be a week from today, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. You could definitely check in all their social medias, but that's mainly why I put this thumbnail up, so that you guys that are close to Atlanta, Georgia, and if you are available Saturday, if the weather is good, we would love to meet you guys. Of course, socially distance properly. Bring your face mask. Also bring hand sanitizer. I want you guys to be as safe as possible. At the end of the day, we are still in a pandemic, but but in all seriousness, though, I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop. Give me a second, guys. I'm gonna put that phone quiet. I still would like to meet you guys before the end of the year, that do live close to Atlanta, Georgia. And Enthusiast POV is a good friend of mine. So it's actually me meeting him, hanging out with him, stuff. But also, we thought, hey, let's just make it a meet. So hopefully that you guys that are close can definitely go there, okay? I want to say that in the first 5 minutes of the video, or 10 minutes of the video. Now, get the mics up, guys. Wow, you guys threw me a lot of questions. And I'll be honest with you, it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, give me some likes, man. Come on, I'm about to answer all these questions. And if you guys want to hit the super chat, if you want to donate anything to the channel, buy me an apple. I'm not really the teacher, but buy me some drinks. This is water. It's a little too early to drink. Well, it depends on what part of the world you're in. And outside that, let's start answering these questions. And also, Daily Q50 is probably going to jump in. A few people that already follow me, they're probably going to jump in and answer some of you guys' questions in the chat, because our community is super informative. So that's why I really love it. Thank you, Daily Q50, and everybody else who actually answers the people's guys' questions in the chat. So, guys, let's go. Let's jump right into it. Woo! All right. So, wow. All right. So, will low down pipes be louder and by a lot, or what? No, Emmanuel. Low down pipes really don't add much noise, especially on a stock exhaust system. They don't really change up the noise because the car is still catted. You just relieve a lot of the back pressure on the turbos. Sag, what you got in that cup? Yeah, Jew. This is water, man. It's too early to drink, like I said. What do you think of the Art CATBACK? I do like it. Especially, it sounds really good on 3.7. And I was gonna pull the trigger, but I heard some people said it's too quiet. What are your thoughts? Well, the 3.7, it's not quiet. It just sounds good. I don't know how to use that. For the VR30 though, most of our VR30 exhausts are not loud. They really aren't loud unless you go full catless, no resonator, and complete. It's pretty much a straight pipe VR30. But for the 3.7s or the hybrids, it's relatively quiet. Okay, Angelo, sub boost. What's the difference between 330, G35 and G37? Well, that's actually very vague question because you're just saying G37, G35. If you want to talk about motor and transmission, you still have a VQ motor, but you have the 2007 G35 will be an HR motor. That's when it went to the dual intakes, and then you have the 2009 G37, which went to the 3.7 VHR. But anything before that G35 is mostly the non-rev up, the DE rev up and non-rev up. So those are slightly different, even though the displacement is the same, still a different architecture of the motor, slightly different architectures. But, and also the G35 from 2003 to 2007-ish for the coupes is still going to be different. So yeah, it was that weird time where Infiniti changed over in 2007. So they gave it the newer HR motor in the 370Z, got the newer HR motor, but the 2007 G35, I believe, coupes still had the DEs. It's super confusing, but I would still recommend to get an HR or a VHR. I'm not nothing against you guys that are DEs or rev up or non-revs up, but like some of you guys really are running into a lot more gallery gasket issues and reliability issues as the time goes on. Of course, if you do the proper maintenance and you've replaced some of these parts, your car's gonna be good. But it's night time for you to graduate to the slightly better VQ. But I think that's a slightly good question. Thank you, bro. John, with intakes, a heat exchanger, lower downpipes, blower valve, and catback, does the Q have to be tuned? Intakes, no. Most people actually run their red sports or regular 3.0Ts stock like that, but to optimize the performance, it's recommended to get tuned because the car is going to make its necessary changes because of some of the modifications that you've done on your 3.0T. I'm not talking about the 3.7 guys. You guys are different. With turbo cars, it's slightly different because with the intakes, you just allow the turbos to spool up a bit quicker. So it's boost targets. The heat exchanger is just better for heat mitigation. Low downpipe just relieve a lot of back pressure on the turbos, and the blow valves just alleviate the excess boost pressure from the buildup in the intake when you release the gas. And finally, the catback exhaust is once again just relieving back pressure. The car still necessarily makes the incremental changes it needs to make. The 3.7 is a lot different. If you go with test pipes, you're going to run into check engine lights. The car is not going to run as good. It's going to be double more fuel. You're going to need to make corrections to the fueling. Same thing for the intake. It seems like this turbo cars are just a little bit better at doing these corrections. Me and Qzilla are cool, but it's fine once. Okay, cool. What up, Boost? Do I need the extension bug for oxygen sensor for when I install my low down pipes? At V Hunt, you don't need oxygen sensor extensions. You don't need to put O2 oxygen sensor spacers on your lower down pipes. For the guys that are watching that have VR30s, you don't need oxygen sensor spacers for your VR30. It's for the VQ guys. In one of my old videos before I got lower down pipes, I stated that you need the oxygen sensor spacers. This is from 2-3 years ago before I had lower down pipes because that was a common thing that they do in a car roll by putting oxygen sensor spacers. But a lot of people went with lower down pipes and realized they're not running into check engine lights, so it's not needed for the VR30 community. VR30 laugh out loud. Okay, yeah, I got a 2011 G37X. There's one G37 with a trans failure. It needs Flatbush like 5K. Emmanuel, send that to me on my IG at boostinmotion. Also, guys, if you want to check, support the channel, I got the boostinmotion merch. Definitely check it out. I'm going to try changes and designs in the next 2 months before the end of the year. Give me a second. Salvage cars will get there. Qs with 10 racks. Okay. I was gonna get it. All right, cool. My Q50 randomly goes into limp mode after restarting. It goes away, but comes back later. The check engine light is off. There was a mass FO code, and I replaced them, but it's still happening. At Justin, that's a very vague question for you to throw at me. Some people think I'm an internet mechanic. That is just super vague. Like, I really can't answer that. You have to see what the check engine light is for. You need to see if it's a fueling issue. I don't know if you're 3.0T or 3.7 is super vague, so I really can't answer that question for you. So sometimes you got to get a little bit more specific, not what the car is doing, but what the actual firmware codes are and your modifications. Journey to Fitness, how you feel about the Fast Intentions CATBACK exhaust? 100%. I definitely recommend them. I love the sound of it, but 1700, yeah, it is a little expensive and boost on the budget and budget in motion. Would I purchase it? No, because I'm so cheap. But for you guys that definitely take the time and want to buy a quality product, Fashion Intentions is one of those good companies out there, and all the ones I've heard in person sound good. Resonated or non-resonated, they sound good, and it's definitely worth the money. It just takes a little while to get it. Get one from Copart or IAA. I would actually rather get a car from IAAI because they only work with insurance companies. Copart there's too much scams with Copart because the dealers or the dealer people with the dealer license will buy the car, right? I have a video talking about this from like years ago. They'll buy a red sport, they'll fix up the hood a little bit, they'll pull out the hood so it could be a little bit more flatter, they'll give it a slightly damaged bumper that was not as damaged, and they'll pretty much cover up a lot of the damage and make it look a lot better. And then they'll go put it through auction and basically flip it. So then a person like me will come and say, oh, this red sport doesn't look that bad, and buy it. And then when they finally get here, I take the parts off and the car has subframe damage. The whole radiator support is destroyed. It's like so much structural parts that they cover because they want to put a band-aid on it and get a quick flip. This is something that happens with Copart, and they don't do nothing. They just let the people do it. Okay, and see here, what do you consider would you consider a 2021 M3 at Sharkia? Yes, I am definitely looking at the new M3 that's coming out. So you guys are probably watching like, no boost. Yes, boost. I am looking at it because it's going to be all-wheel drive. It's going to be inline 6 turbo, and it's going to either come manual or all-wheel drive, but I just want the all-wheel drive. So which means it's going to be the car everyone's going to go after. Everyone's going to go after the all-wheel drive M3. We all can necessarily afford that because we already chase M3s. And I already got M3, M4 owners in there. You know what I'm talking about. You guys used to have Infinitis, and you're like, I want to beat that M3, but it was just never fast enough to compete. Now they're going to have a ZF S58 motor, and the car's going to be like 3,900, 3,800 pounds all-wheel drive. 500 competition will be 510. Those cars right now, just to briefly just shooting this out, guys, because this is my people who are watching that say, boost, don't get an M3, M4, right? Well, M3, right? The S58 motor, the new one that's coming out on the X3, X4M right now with tune E85 only are doing between 620 to 640 wheel horsepower. You don't have to change high pressure fuel pumps. You don't have to touch anything else because that motor comes with 2 high pressure fuel pumps. So the only thing you have to do is really just add E85 and get a tune, and the car makes over 600 wheel. The VR30, that is unheard of. You got to change turbos. You got to go E85. When you want to go for a power level, do you want to go with a car that can get you there, or do you want to change parts in your car? I love the VR30, but we'll see what happens in the year, man. I'm not rushing. You guys know I'm boosting a budget. So if boosting a budget got M3, wouldn't that be insane? That means he ain't broke anymore. But anyways, let's continue, guys. Of course, what do you think? What do you think is the best mod for the 2014 Q50S? With any 3.7, to be honest with you guys, I think the best modification when it comes to performance, breathing modifications, is test pipes or high flow cats. I think that makes the biggest difference in the actual power next to, I would say, throttle bodies, but the throttle bodies are really expensive. They're really expensive. Outside of that, handling wise, coilovers. I think coilovers change up the whole driving feel and driving experience of the car. Yes, they are like $700 to $1,000, but you have a lot of adjustability. You adjust the height, the firmness of the suspension, and it's just changed the all around feeling of the car, and I love that. The q50, one of the best CATBACKs down. Cody, yo, what's up, Cody? What's going on? Pull up to the VR BMW meet at Toys R Us at 3 p.m. What's up with the kid that dumped his Q50 in the river? I actually went to his Facebook page. If you guys don't go on Instagram, right? I put up a video, and it was a funny video making fun of like Q50 owners coming at 3.7s, saying, "Oh, the 3.7 got lost to a stock 3.0 stock 3.0 Red Sport, and he had spent $10,000, so he threw it in the river." But what really happened is, he worked at Best Buy, and seemed from what he said in the video, he actually quit. Not that video, but he quit his job at Best Buy, and he was also a college student. So he said, yo, I can't afford this car no more. Like, screw it, my life sucks. And literally just got out the car and drove it into the water. And I'm just like, the kid is like 20, 21. He's some young kid. And I didn't DM him because I'm like, yo, you know what? He's gonna learn his own lesson. Stuff like this you don't throw on the internet. You know, He's just gonna have to take the bullet and find out. Hopefully, because it's basically an insurance scam. So we'll see what happens. I don't know about that meet in Toys R Us, but I'm gonna be busy today, so I'm not gonna go anywhere. Slack Arc is good. Okay, would you rather a G37 IPL or a G37 sedan? Cody, I've had a sedan already. I put up a post. I don't really talk about it. I think I put up a video about all the cars I've owned. I've had that car already, that sedan already. I don't need it again. I've always loved the coupe and the IPL. More as I understand, from what I can just sit there and be honest with you guys about, when I was looking for IPL for the last 6 months, one, they're super hard to find. Two, when you find one, they're super expensive, $15,000, $20,000. Most of them aren't stick. So when I did find it when I was stick, it was like $27,000. And I sat there and said to myself, I'm gonna buy this 11, pretty much 9 to 10-year-old car for $25,000. And I sat there and said to myself, I'm not doing that. I'm not keeping it. I just wanted to get it for the channel for about 6 months to a year, finance it or whatever, and then go to resell it like on Carvana or something like that. And I said, I'm not gonna take a hit on my credit for $25,000 for IPL, which is just the same freaking car as a 2008 G37 Sport. I'm just being honest with you guys. It just doesn't make sense, but I get it because of rarity, you know, the up badging. But outside of that, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. It is what it is. I'm not going to kill myself about it. Outlaws, new to the channel, have a G37S coupe and was wondering if there's a website or forum that lists reviews and locations of tuners across the United States. At Outlaw Hustler, I recommend going on Facebook. There's a lot of groups there for the G37, a lot of big groups. And you can just ask them a simple question. What's the best tuners in this state or whatever, right? And people are going to jump in and just start throwing you tuners. Some of the best tuners in the G37 VQ community is Specialty Z, Z-Win Motorsports. You got Admin Tuning, and you got a good amount of tuners that know how to tune these cars. So there's definitely a lot of information out there. So just that's what I would recommend for forums. DEs are junk. Keep it in. Okay, that means I'm way back on questions. Would you rather get a G37 supercharged with level 10 transmission or a JB4 Q50? Well, you got to understand a JB4 Q50 is way cheaper. Like you can get a Q50 for $20,000 now, and a JB4 only costs $600, and that's it. For you to get a G37, you're gonna have to find the cheapest one, hopefully $5,000 to $6,000. If you wanted to pay retail for a STILLEN supercharger kit, that's going to be another $7,000, and that's the kit that comes, you know, right out the box. And then you said a level 10 transmission, that could be about $4,000 because it's automatic, or I could just get a manual and not have to get that. But let's just say level 10 transmission. So what is that? 7 plus 4, that's 11. 11 plus 5, that's 16,000 invested out my pocket. Or I just finance a Q50 for $20,000 with like $1,000 down and JB for it, or even lease it where it's zero down, where I pay like damn near no money out the door. So no, I'm not gonna spend that money, invest that much money into a G37. It doesn't make sense. Like the return is gonna take too long. Do you think the Infiniti will ever make 500 horsepower car? No, I honestly don't think so. Knowing that they want to go with electrification, I don't really see it happening. And also on top of that, if they do make a 500 horsepower car, it cannot overshadow the GTR. That means if you think about their cars right now, the Q60 would probably have to be the 500 horsepower car. I don't see them making a 500 horsepower Q50 even in the future, knowing that they're going as electrification. But if they did, that means that it would have to dethrone the M3, the RS4, which we don't have over here, and the C63S. Now they are changing up the C63Ss or the AMG 63s. From what I've been reading, you guys go double fact check me. It seems that Mercedes is going to a 4-cylinder large turbo 63Ss. So they're going to change up the name. It ain't going to be 663s anymore. And they're going from the V8 twin turbo to the 4-cylinder single turbo. Fact check me. It's insane. I can't believe they're getting rid of the V8s. I guess because of emissions in UK, they're actually going to make these changes in the next couple years. So they're pretty much getting rid of the V8s. It's insane. So, you know, but we got to wait and see. Twan, on the 3.7, if you put Z1 intakes, will the intake suck up water when driving? Yes. You have to get the rain guard. Usually they say like a rain guard or some kind of shield. If it's really heavy downpours, the water would actually get into the cone and it could get sucked into it. So usually they sell like some kind of rain guard or a shield or whatever the case might be. That's not only exclusively to Z1 Motorsports. That's pretty much almost any intake that comes to behind the grill in front of the radiator, the condenser. What's the best downpipes for the Q50, Gabrielle? To be honest with you, man, it depends on downpipes. You have pretty much 3 different types of downpipes. You have full catless, you have catted full, and then you have lower downpipes. The best for performance will be full catless. I just don't recommend full catless because some of you guys emissions, and depending on your state that you're in, you may not pass emissions, and not every tune is created equal. So I don't want you guys to run into any issues with running full catless. Plus, catless kind of kills the earth. The amount of fumes that comes out can actually really make you sick, unless you don't care. You want to send it at the track. Daily Q50. But outside of that, I always recommend the best bang for its buck is Megan lower downpipes. Only $150. Most, you know, it's easy to install. And that's it. Like, it's the amount of power that you gain going full catless or catted fulls. Yes, you do gain 10, maybe 15 wheels power depending on the tuner and elevation and fuel with going with full catless or full catted downpipes. But outside of that, it's a lot more labor intensive. And, you know, at the end of the day, it depends on your state's requirements when it comes to emissions. This is just me speaking just with honesty, you know, because I don't want you guys to go full catless and the state that you're in run into a lot of issues with this. Should I do AIM intakes for my 2.0T? I see they offer it. Well, the 2.0T is relatively small. What I would recommend is seeing if anybody did any dyno comparisons of the stock intake versus the AIMs. The 2.0T community is a lot small. I think I missed a sorry guys. Shout out to Albert. He dropped $5 on me. I appreciate that. I'm not gonna drink any liquor. It's still a little early in the day. So this is water. It's still morning or afternoon time, but slice of pizza and a soda for you, brother. Thank you for the information. Yo, Albert, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for $5 down donation. I'm probably gonna be eating pizza later. Like literally, probably eating pizza. Like, follow me at boostinmotion. I swear I'm gonna be eating pizza later just for you, and I'm gonna take a picture and be like, "Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Got you." All right. I gotta go back to the questions. So with the AIM intake, there's just not a big community for that car, so I really won't be able to recommend it. So I'll honestly sit there and tell you I don't know. Sorry, man. Thoughts on the go-to customs headlight? They look good. I definitely seen them. X3M is tough. Okay. Hey, I saw your advertising low down pipes on Insta. What is the details? I wasn't advertising it. It's just that people that follow me on Boost Motion, some of the stuff that I usually repost is when people want to sell some of their car parts in the community. And I don't charge anything for it because it's not like a bunch of you guys hit me up like, Boost, can you repost this for sale? It's just that it's easier for you guys to repost, to post something and repost, and I'll repost it for you if you live in Cali, because then some people want parts. So I just repost it. I don't charge anything, but I don't really have any information on it. Just hit him up, the guy that I posted on Instagram, and pretty much ask him, okay? Thoughts on Julius Pepin's purple G37? I've really probably seen the car. I just don't know information on it, Cody. I'm sorry, man. Matthew Gas, this will suck the rain. Okay, yeah, definitely will. 27K manual, hell of a price. Yeah, IPL is wasting money because you won't. Okay, cool. At Keith Butler, he's asking me, for the guys who watching, get them likes up. Once again, I gotta let you guys know this is about 30 minutes in the chat. Me, Enthusiast POV, Speed Culture Studios, and Noor TM with the VR30 swap 370Z, and he's also gonna bring the Z there. Yeah, so you guys are gonna see a 370Z with a VR30 swap. We're gonna be in Atlanta, Georgia, November 7th between 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. We're having a car meet. I'll put the details in the description of this video, or you can go to my last video. One of my last videos, I already have the address and everything up, or go to my Instagram. I'm gonna start reposting that stuff every day within the next 7 days, so you guys will know. So, but right now I don't have it saved or whatever. I can't drop it in the chat. I'm sorry, man. But definitely, I hope to see you guys there. Hopefully, the weather's good too. Okay, cool. Is the 6-speed manual G37 faster than the 7-speed automatic? From all the videos that I've seen, because of gear ratio, no, the 7-speed automatic is actually faster than the 6-speed manual. Now, you might see a 6-speed manual go in a dyno and make more power because of less drivetrain loss. But from what I've seen in plenty of videos where people have mod for mod, the 6-speed always lost. I guess the gearing is just not as aggressive as the 7-speed. Oh, what's good, brother? Great content. Thank you, man. Okay, that Alba had dropped me the pizza. Yeah. Takedown. Okay, can you run E30 on fully stock 3.0T red sport? From what I've seen, shout out to Burger Tuning. What they do with their cars is they just test the car out with a slight E85 mix just to see, so they can bump up the octane level of the 91 fuel. And from their own dynos, yes, you do gain a bit more power. So yes, you can actually run E30, a slightly higher mix of E85 to the 91 fuel. And what do I need to go full E? Is there any kind of flex fuel kit, and do I need to get a high pressure fuel pump? Well, Takedown, I guess you're new to the channel. This information is already out there. You guys probably already answered them and everything like that. But if you want to go full E, yes, you're gonna need a lower pressure fuel pump, in tank low pressure fuel pump. I have videos on this already detailing it. You can definitely just boostinmotion YouTube E85, and I have like 3 or 4 videos on it. You're gonna need a high pressure fuel pump because once you go over, from what it stated, some tuners have told me and told the community, E40, E50 mix is, you could kind of get away with that on stock high pressure fuel pump. I haven't had the experience. I'm not a tuner. Some tuners are sitting there saying, screw it, don't do that. Just go with the high pressure fuel pump. That's the one that sits on top of the motor. You can get that from AMS or Spool FX. Those are 2 companies. And you can get a flex fuel kit either from Spool FX, or you can also get that from AMS. This is going to allow you to actually read the amount of E85 content. Okay, I have a 2008 G37 Coupe 6-speed manual. I raced 7-speed from a roll, and I got him by a car. But respect the 7-speed. I mean, Matthew, I just gotta be honest with you. I've seen 7-speed automatics beat the 6-speed. So either you're just a really good driver, give it to you. So that means you shift really fast. And number 2, maybe the automatic guy, maybe he's just not good enough. You know, it is what it is. Usually automatics are usually a little heavier too. So, you know, I guess whoever gets on it first. It's a still fast, okay. And was it stock versus stock? Okay, stock versus stock, probably a little bit better. Give me a second. Let me just check my messages. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Just checking my messages. People asking Facebook groups what oil to use. Yeah, people always ask what oil to use on a G37, and I'm like, this car has been out since 2008. It don't make sense. Like, why would you ask a forum group? Like, we're gonna drag you, bro. Jesus. Bear with me, guys. 5 p.m. Bear with me, guys. Give me a second. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, how do Nissans have sports car, but Infiniti don't? Let me just fix this. Infiniti don't. Infiniti is supposed to be higher model Nissan. Jay Briggs, I don't work for Nissan Infiniti, but that's just the way it is. It's just the way it rolls. They just wanted to make Infiniti more of a luxury performer. I definitely loved how Infiniti and Nissan were running like parallel with each other from 2000. No, I would say from like 1995 all the way up to like right around 2015. I definitely like that because you can get a G37, which is pretty much a 370Z, same chassis. It's just that one's more luxurious, one's more of a sports car, but they're necessarily the same car. And I definitely love that. Now it seems that they completely differentiated. Once they made the Maxima CVT and everything CVT, it was just like, you took away the gearing. And I still never fell in love with the CVT. And I guess 90% of the people out there drive CVTs are okay with it. But even people I know who have a Nissan or a Sentra, they don't really like the transmission. They actually like the feeling of the gears changing. But if reliability is the key, then it is what it is. Would you whip a FX50S? Yes, 100%. It's definitely a nice car and pretty much pretty rare. How do you have a sports car? Okay, I already answered that question. All right, so why did the G35 and 7 stop? What do you mean? Why did it stop? like why they stopped making the car, because they continue to remake the cars, bro. They kept on remaking the cars, bro. Like that's what they did. They kept on remaking the car. So the 37 turned into the q60. That's what happened. That's why it stopped. They changed it out the motor. This is what it is. Like those cars were out from 2008 to 2015 for the G37. And please don't even talk about, you know, the 370Z. Red Sport, okay. Boiler exhaust from G37. Boiler exhaust, I think I'm not really a fan of Boiler exhaust. I really think that's more of an American brand. I have heard sound clips of it, but there's so much other brands that support the Nissan Infiniti community that you can go with, such as Fast Intentions, GT House, even NVIDIA, a few other exhausts out there. Definitely look into those, but the Bullet sounds good. I have a leased q50 VR30 with a JB4 and some bolt-ons. Do you think lower downpipes would be a problem on dealership? I mean, Angelo, yes, it could definitely be a problem. It depends on your service tech. I mean, listen, they'll work on your car if there's ever, you know, regular maintenance. But if anything ever goes wrong with the car, like blow up or whatever, let's say you blow up the motor, which probably ain't gonna happen. But let's say if you did, somehow, some way that you never checked the oil, they could if they don't want that work, they don't want that money, they could easily sit there and say, well, you had on lower downpipes. And technically, when you take your lower downpipes off based on the federal code, that's against the law. Like you're not supposed to take off your catalytic converters. You're not supposed to. We're not supposed to do it, but who would ever listen to that? So it all depends on your dealership, brother. Hello, what's going on, Sylvette? What's going on, man? All right. Do you think the Infiniti needs to expand their lineup and add things like Q80 and a Q90? Good question. No, I don't think so at all. All auto manufacturers are moving over to pickup trucks, CUVs, pretty much crossover utilities, and small compacts. And even now, everyone's pushing electrification. So I don't think they need more cars. I think they just need to make, like, if it was up to me, keep the Q50. Q50, just redesign it. Because Q50 was one of the highest selling cars in like the last, well, with the exception of the last 2 years. Before that, Q50 was one of the highest selling cars every year. So you got to keep the Q50. It's an entry level luxury car. Q60, you need to keep it because you don't have any coupes. So once again, the Q60 is going to need a redesign soon because it came out in 2017. So 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. And I don't think there's a 2021 version yet. I have to double check on the Infiniti website. And okay, so then they need a big flagship sedan. So they need to bring out the Q70 again, but it needs to stomp the game. Because it's going to need to compete against the Lexuses and technically the Acura, which they don't have the top tier Acura anymore. I think it's only TL now. I don't think they have the one above it. I think they scrapped the top level Acura now. So it won't be much competition, but if they make the car as nice as a new Nissan Rogue. Listen, guys, if you're watching, the new Nissan Rogue is actually really nice on the inside. Like Nissan's put a lot of attention and detail into a lot of new cars that they're dropping. I know you guys don't care about those cars, but the tech that you see in those cars is what's going to go into the Infinitis too. I bet you're bottom dollar. Like you look at the new 400Z, look how it has a digital dash, and there's a lot of features going to be in there. So it's going to get watered down and trickled down, or not really watered down, but some of this nice stuff is going to go into the Infiniti, and probably Infiniti's going to make it even nicer. The new QX60 is supposed to be pretty much the Pathfinder, but that looks like it's going to be nice, completely new redesigned interior too. So we'll see where that goes. I'm not a good GTR. Okay, blah 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 blah. Held. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Shout to Bradford White. He put an address in the chat. So Bradford White, shout out to Bradford White. He put an address in the chat. This is where the meet is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. So guys, if you want to screenshot that, Bradford White, I pinned it and it's going to stay up there. So for you guys who are jumping in right now, me, Enthusiast POV, Speed Cultures, New TM, and also Bradford White, shout out to his YouTube channel, Ultima Guy, is also going to be there. So this is when you guys could actually meet some of your favorite YouTubers you've been watching if you live in Atlanta or Georgia area or South Carolina or Florida. And also New TM is going to be there with his BR30 swap 370Z. So it should be a really good car meet because this is probably the first time, at least from me watching YouTube, where Nissan and Infiniti enthusiasts actually came together and threw a car meet. So this might be a really big thing. Hopefully the weather's good, and also bring your face mask. I'm about to say Vaseline. Bring don't know why I said Vaseline. Get the hand sanitizer and just properly socially distance yourself. If you feel comfortable, it's okay. If you don't feel comfortable, I understand. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Do infinity thinking. Okay, blah 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 blah. What's the fastest G37 you've seen? Power wise, 600 wheel horsepower. But at the track, I don't really watch much of the content for the G37 anymore, so I really can't sit there and say I know they're in the tens. I know they're in the tens, but the few that I follow on Instagram, yeah, they all about 600 wheel horsepower, shooting MEF E85, large turbo, or at least supercharged, but they don't want to pop the motor. I noticed builds out there that probably have rods and pistons and built blocks, but I never really watched any of their content. So, or at least they're not on YouTube. They're like on Facebook groups. So I really can't sit there and say, because I know there's fast G37, 370s out there. So sorry, I really wish I could give you a better, like, honest opinion, but they're fast. Bro, he's selling knowledge. Bro, you should be selling your knowledge. Why you give it out for free? Well, Cody, to be honest with you, some of my friends that are close to me said that I should charge, like, go like with this page. I should actually go with like a membership group on the page. Also, even on Instagram, they said I should actually charge for people who DM me about certain questions if they're lengthy questions. And I've thought about monetizing that. Or that type of content, but what makes it a little easier for me is I just don't do this often. So, you know, I'll make a video about it, because to me, if I make a video will always stay on YouTube. As long as there is a YouTube, that video will be there. So if someone asks me a very serious, in-depth question and I made a video about it, I say, listen, this video, I get detail in it, check it out. At the end of the day, that's still a monetization. But videos like this, like, I actually do like to engage and talk to you guys when I can. And I think it's cool. I really like talking. But yes, it will be great if I can monetize it on the level of like, hey, listen, if you want to have a membership, blah, blah, blah. But at this point, I'm not on that level. And I know that there's not so many people that I'm overloaded. I mean, even shout out to you, Cody. Like, I don't know if you follow Alejandro. He's a S550 YouTuber. He's one of the, I think he works for one of the big Mustang tuning companies out there, right? That makes parts and stuff, right? His YouTube, when he goes live, here's the crazy thing about it. When he goes live, right? He has almost 2,000 to 3,000 people viewing it. People are dropping money on his, like, $5, $10, $20, $30, $50, like, just throwing money out there for him to answer the question. And he literally only answers the questions for like the people who kept dropping money on him, because it's like there's so much questions that he's like, I can't answer these questions. So you say he only answers the questions that are like people paid for. And even then, it's like sometimes it's very overwhelming for him. And I could only imagine. So, I mean, maybe one day my YouTube will be like that, but I don't really want you guys throwing money at me. This is why I still want it. You know, YouTube is technically free. Yeah, you pay $90 a month or whatever to watch YouTube, necessarily for free. YouTube does pay me $5 every, I would say between $4 to $5 every 1,000 views. So I guess that's what I'm worth. But at the end of the day, man, I enjoy it for now. If it ever does change and it's overwhelming, I will definitely let you guys know and be like, listen, man, I gotta, if this time is money, you know. But shout out to you, Cody, man. I appreciate that. Derek, does Acutech Tune remove the top speed limiter? Yes, it does. So down, I slap a man 3.7 all day. What map would you be safe to run on my Q50 Red Sport? Usually on the Red Sports, you can only really run map 1 and 2. That's between 3 to 4 psi above stock. Anything above that, you start running into fuel issues where the car starts to starve itself because it's pretty much trying to dump a lot of fuel, and you would pretty much need a tune at that point. Some people have run on the newer JB4 firmware. Some people have run map 3, which will be plus, I think, 5 or 6. I can't remember, plus 5 or 6. But even then, they might start running into fuel issues because it's just dumping so much fuel. So the car is kind of like starving itself. Manuel, what exhaust intake and tune do you prefer? Well, when it comes to tune, it's only Acutech. That's our tuning platform. Intake, you have AMS or stock, and exhaust, that's up to you. I'm boost on the budget and motion, so I like to buy affordable stuff. So if you have a Q50 NVIDIA, I definitely like that CATBACK or Rev 9. And lower downpipes, Megan lower downpipes. I left from the light with the stock, okay, G37, okay, and ran out this G30, this guy's life. I was thinking he was gonna come by me because I heard the exhaust at the light. Okay. What's your dream car that you hope to own in the future? Well, what I say my dream car, I'll say this. My dream car, not saying that we're supposed to ever limit what we really would love to obtain in life. So you never know. 20 years from now, I might be able to get this car. 918. 19 Porsche. I think that car, to me, is really still technically timeless, very rare, and it was very like a lot, like it was before its time. That's like one of my dream cars. I don't think I would ever own it. It is super expensive. But a dream car that I think I can actually own, I don't know. Like I honestly don't know. I really do think the sky's the limit. A lot of cars do have a depreciation factor. So some cars are up $350,000 now, but give it a few more years, they may be 150. Some of them are already 150. Some McLarens are like 150 low. Like, you know, that's about half the price. And with these exotic cars, they're not like regular cars. You know, we go get a Q50 and we put on a 7-year finance, right? Hear me out. But with supercar world, it's completely different. What happens in the supercar world is there's specific bank loans that you can get that are 10 to 12 years. And $150,000 for a 12-year loan, you know, that's actually a lot cheaper. That could be, I don't know, 800. Give me a second, guys. Bear with me, because I want to make sure I'm saying the right math, and I don't want you guys to laugh at me like Boost don't know math. He's stupid. I don't want you guys to make fun of me. So $150,000, right? Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. I'm gonna ask you guys questions. 150K. All right, cool. Divide that by 12 years. Pop. Divide that by 12. Pop. So $150,000 car finance. We're not talking about APR percentage right now, but finance for 12 years. Your monthly payment should be around 10, 14. That's without interest. Of course, it's gonna be interest. You know, it might be like 1, 2 to 3%. But even then, that's a lot more affordable to get. Let's be honest, that's a lot more affordable, because if you want to go get a McLaren right now, let's say 570, it's $2,000 a month plus. You know what I'm saying? Rather than you just wait 2-3 years when it's like half the price and you only have to pay like $1,100-$1,200 a month. That's a lot more affordable. So I really don't know, but I think it's a very heavy question, and I've really sat there and thought about it. But thank you, man. I really do appreciate that question, and it makes me actually sit there and think, you know, about the future cars that I may own. Because if boostinmotion is still here, I'm gonna keep making videos for whatever car I do own. Overlord, okay. How you came up with the name boostinmotion? Cody, that's actually great. First thing, get the mics up, because Cody's asking some really good questions, and I never really thought about it. Well, I think it was an Instagram page or a Facebook page or something like that. It's called Boost Builders, right? And I was like, oh man, I want to have some name like that. So this channel was actually originally called Cornerstone Media. Yeah, for like literally 3 to 4 months. It was called Cornerstone Media. And then I was like, yo, I don't really like this. I don't really like this name. So then I really sat there and I thought about it. I was like, I really want something like Boost Builders, right? And there was 2 names that came up. I'm trying to remember the other one. One was boostinmotion, and one was like Boost to Motion. So it was boostinmotion and Boost to Motion. So I was just thinking about how Boost moves you so motion. So I was like boostinmotion and Boost to Motion. And even one of my friends was like boost emotion, like boost emotion, like your feelings. And I was like, nah, it sounds soft. So I was like, boost to motion sounds pretty good. And I'm like, okay. Then it was like boost in motion. And I was like, oh my God, like this is hard. Boost to motion or boost in motion. And I was like, yo, boost in motion just sounds a lot better. So yo, shout out to you for asking that question. And I really appreciate you. And I think it's a really good name. And yeah, boost in motion. You know what I'm saying? If you have a boosted car, you're always going to be moving. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't stick to only Infinitis and Nissans. You know, it's any car that has turbo, superchargers, or even just a regular NA. You know, there's no boost. But, you know, I think it could be up to something a lot bigger than what it is. So shout out to you, man. Thank you for that question. Mike Lee just saw the 2021 Q60. It's nice. Okay, so I guess the 2021 Q60 dropped because I was sitting there saying I don't know if they dropped already and if they made any changes in it because the 2021 Q50s now should have foldable mirrors from what I was told. And also they have two new colors. They got rid of the iridium blue and replaced it with some like a more deeper rich blue, and now they have like a nardo gray that you can actually get on the red sports. You can't get it on the regular 3.0Ts, I think. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. One second, guys. All right, cool. Woo! Okay. I think a Google article. Okay, cool. Bradford White. Okay, see you. Thanks for the info. Okay, can't wait, Cody. Alex, do you know anybody that rides on Michelin Pilot Sport tires, which you recommend? I used to work for BJ's Wholesale Club, and we sold Michelin, BF Wrench, and Uniroyal tires. And what I gotta say is Pilot Sport tires, the different types are really great tires, depending on the composite, because it was one, I think it was the AS3. I didn't like the composite of it. It was like it had a really thick tread blocks, and it was a lot of harder material. But honestly, do I know anyone personally right now? No. But do I recommend Michelin Pilot Sport tires? Yes. Okay, can we do a two-step? How do you remove limiters? You have to get a tune, bro. And Juan says, do you use a pedal commander? No, I don't use a pedal commander anymore. Once you get tuned, you don't really need it because they can adjust it through a tune. But also, for you guys who are watching, if you don't want a pedal commander, you can also just go with a you can go with the Burger tuning version, which is about half the price. So yeah, that's another way you guys can save like half the price, and it has the same exact features. It does the same thing. That's all it is. Just mitigates and changes the sensitivity of the throttle. So just go with the half price one, and that's it. Also, if you do want to get a pedal command in your car, they don't work with people who have it's intelligent cruise control. Something with lane guidance and intelligent cruise control, the pedal harness is a lot different. So you may run into some issues where it just won't plug in. So if you have lane guidance and intelligent cruise control, then it won't work for your car. Also, the pedal commander slash Burger tuning version also works for the G37, 370Z guys too. So definitely look up those videos because some of them, it uses the same exact harness. So look into that. So done. So I'm running an Indy 500 on the front and Nittos in the rear. Okay, I see why you want the grip. My 3.7. Is this dangerous? Nah. The only time that it's a problem when it comes to running different type of tires in the front and back is like when you're running like bias ply versus apply tires. This is like drag radials with radials in the front. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes that's where the issue runs into because the construction of the tires are a lot different. They don't have reinforced sidewalls, so the car will just drive and feel completely weird. But you can definitely run two different brands, one in the front, one in the rear, and that's perfectly fine. It's always best. They're always best to put the tire with the best grip to the rear. That's from what I have always known. Always go to put the the tires with the best grip to the rear. When it comes to summer tires versus all seasons, it's recommended to put the all seasons in the rear versus the summer tires in the rear. And it's not really much else out to that. You know what I'm saying? There's really not much else. That's perfectly fine what you're doing. Yeah, wow, I actually answered a lot of you guys' questions in the first hour. Wow. And I got 42 views and 32 likes. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, man. Thank you. Listen. I know it's early, so I'm not gonna get a bunch of you guys on here. Bear with me, guys. I'm still here. I'm now gonna post the link. I was supposed to post the link that I'm live with you guys, but you know what? I'm gonna post the link on Facebook groups, different Facebook groups, so that they would know that what's going on. Maybe they want to click on a link and come and check out the video. So I'm gonna do that right now because I think if I would have did it earlier, it would have been too much for me, and I'd have been like, oh my god, like this is insane. So I just post those links to a few groups on YouTube. I mean on Facebook groups. Hopefully, if anyone sees it, they can just jump in and converse with me. But you guys get to hang out with me first, and I get to answer all you guys' questions because usually this comment thread be, but I guess because I did it in the morning time, I don't have to kill myself. and I just super appreciate you guys who are hanging out with me. But anyways, once again, I'm gonna give you guys an update once again. So I pinned a address. Oh, Bradford White wrote the address, and I pinned it in the right-handed corner, or however it's set up on your phone. Me, Enthusiast POV, Speed Cultures, and Nowhere TM with the VR30 swap 370Z, which he's bringing. And also, Bradford White's going to be here with his Ultimate and his crew. We're gonna have a Nissan Infiniti car meet in Atlanta, Georgia next week, pretty much a week from now, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. The location's there, and bring your face mask, bring your hand sanitizer, social distance properly so that you feel comfortable. I don't want anybody to feel like, oh my God, Boo's trying to kill us. It's just that we got to move forward with the world, and I really want to meet you guys. And also, Enthusiast POV is a friend of mine, and I've told him I'm gonna go hang out with him since he moved. So we said, let's make a meet, and now everybody just jumped in, and it is what it is, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it so much. So I'm gonna get to see you guys. If you do live in that area or close to the area, it's gonna definitely be great. South Carolina, North Carolina, maybe I think I have some people coming from Virginia and also Florida and even Ohio. So if you are free, if the weather's good and you feel safe and you feel like you're ready to meet some other people from the community, let's do it. And the best thing is, what I love about car meets that are specialized is this. You know, when you have people who like the same type of cars or similar into cars, usually make friends. And once you make friends with people in the community, you actually like really develop relationships with some of these people. And you never know, you might meet your next best friend there, or somebody else that loves to wrench as much as you. So that's why I'm super excited about it. And it's good for everybody else to just mix and mingle and meet people from the community. All right, let me get back to the questions if there is any questions. It's okay, cool. What suspension mods can I do to my all-wheel drive Q50 to help relieve stress from the axles because I'm really low? One, I would recommend just raising the car up. To be quite honest, there's really no stress that's go to these cars. No one, it's only me and like 5 other people who've had axle issues. Everyone else doesn't have axle issues for the rear axles and the front axles. So, but necessarily raise the car up slightly, go with more of a functional fitment. I don't slam my car from the fender to the wheel rim. I slam my car from the fender to the top of the tire. And that's how it's always worked. I think it's the best fitment, and you can drive everywhere and don't have to worry about really any issues. But there's really no modifications that relieves the stress on the axles. There's really no modifications. That's really it. Raptors versus Lakers. I'm not getting into this argument. We need a Florida meet. J.R. Smith, there's going to be a Florida meet. I don't know when it is going to be because I don't have a lot of free time with my job. But next year, hopefully, a lot of these restrictions lighten up in the next 2-3 months. But I am planning to go to Miami again. It's going to happen. I'm going to Miami again. And there's a lot of you guys in Southern Florida that have Q50, Q60, G37, 370Zs, Maximas. Like, it's a lot of you guys down there, and or at least Southern Florida. And I have a big following down there. And my fellow friends, my fellow YouTubers have big followings. So that could be a thing. I just don't know when, and I can't put a definite time, but it's gonna happen, and it's probably gonna be freaking huge. I already know it. Definitely post a video from that weekend. Okay, cool. Definitely, I got you, Mike Lee. I'm gonna try to get as much video content as I can from hanging out with the other 3 YouTubers, 4 YouTubers, maybe driving their cars. I don't know about racing. I don't know. I'm not gonna have my car there. I want you guys to know my Q50 will not be there. I'm gonna have a rental, hopefully like a Mercedes or something like that. Because flex. but I'm not driving my car down there. I'm going down there with my 2 other friends from New York. So it's kind of like us hanging out with enthusiasts and also just hanging out, chilling and stuff. Shout out to Angelo, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate so much. Thank you for hanging out, watching video with me and everything. You know, it's a little early in the morning. Some of you guys are headed to work, and I just wanted to drop this video a little early in the day, but let's just continue, man. Thank you so much, man. Have you been running summer tires during the winter? I've been thinking about getting summer tires for my all-wheel drive Q50 for better performance. I live in Indiana, so it snows, but not as much as NY. Well, NY doesn't snow as much, at least in New York City, but upstate New York, it snows pretty much all the time. Upstate New York, it's just more consistent. It's a lot colder down there, up there. Indiana, that's probably more Midwest, so I would assume it probably snows there too. My tires right now are BARUM Bavarius tires. It's a summer tire. For some strange reason, years ago, I swear it said on the website all season, but they're actually summer tires. But when I did drive in the snow, I never had issues. And understand, guys, I don't raise my car up in the winter. I don't raise my car in the snow. I just plow it, like literally. And I just take my time. I haven't gotten stuck. Even in some parking spots that the snow is at least 4 to 5 inches. As long as the snow is soft, I never really had an issue. Even when it freezes up, I still never really had an issue. You just put the car in snow mode. If you can't get out, take the traction control off and send it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Like, just send it. But I know some of you guys live in more rural areas where snow is a lot more higher, more dense, a lot more slushier. The highways, you probably want to go with more of a dedicated snow tire. So that's what I would recommend if you guys live in a more an area where you get snow more consistently. At least put snow tires in the rear if you're rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. At least those, and you can keep the front 2 tires all season. You can do that too. I would drive up, but work's got me. I hear you at J.R. Smith. I get it, man. I'm not mad about it. Thoughts on the paddle shifters install? I did put up a video talking about how to get the paddle shifters. I never installed them, but how to get them on your 2017 and up Q60s and your 2018 and up Q50s. And also, I've talked about it for like 2014s and stuff, 2014, 2015s. It's already a harness there. You just plug it right in. And if you have a G37, 370Z, it's already pre-wired. So it's easy for you guys to put paddle shifters. What is your suspension setup? I don't know if I want lowering springs or coils. I don't want a rough ride. I'm rear-wheel drive. At Takedown Moto, I'm always gonna recommend coilovers over lowering springs because lowering springs, that's it. That's what they do. They just lower your car. You know, your shocks are not made for lowering springs. They're made for the stock springs. So when you put in lowering springs, that's it. Whatever your car sits at, that's it. Whatever ride comfort you have, that's it. At least with coilovers, you can adjust the firmness. So you can just turn the knob. It can come from being really stiff to really soft ride. You can adjust the ride height. So some of you guys have driveways. You might live in certain places where you don't want that car to be that low. So you can actually just raise it up. Some of you guys who have nice summers but heavy winters, you can raise the car up. There's so much adjustability. You can go with stiffer spring rates, so that the car literally feels like it's handling on freaking rails, like really stiff. Or you have lighter spring rates where it usually comes out the box, which are a lot softer and just as good as stock. Or I would say it's actually better than stock because stock is actually mushy. So it's a little bit more firmer and it's not as much body roll. Outside of that, my other suspension modifications I have is rear STILLEN sway bar. It definitely helps. When I swapped from the regular to STILLEN years ago, it was definitely a big change in the rear end. But at the point, I already had coilovers, so it pretty much just helped in. It's more of an accessory modification where if it's a standalone modification as a sway bar, you would feel a difference, but not as a great difference as coilovers did. You know what I'm saying? So it's more of an accessory modification to the coilovers. And what else I have? I don't really have anything else for the suspension now. But yeah, I just have a front sway bar. Give me a second, guys. I got a rear drive. I haven't drove it in the snow yet. I already know it ain't going anywhere. I mean, to be honest, I know a few people who definitely drive their rear drive in the snow. They just put on snow tires. And I mean, I guess depending on how heavy the snow is, but if you know you could just park it up and just have a second daily or a little truck or Jeep or something, why not? You know, these cars, you can get a Jeep Laredo or a Cherokee for like under $1,000. I mean, it might have a check engine light, but it is what it is. It's just your daily driver for the winter. As long as it gives you heat and it starts every day, you're pretty good. Would you recommend admin tuning for the VR30 platform? One. Well, this is the second time this is a few times I've been asked this on video. Listen, I'm gonna be straight with you. Monsef, I know Monsef might watch this video, and you guys might go tell Monsef. Monsef is the owner of Admin Tuning. I have much love and respect for Monsef. I'm only going to tell you I have no experience in getting tuned from him in the VR30 community, number one. I can only go off of the people who've come to me saying their recommendations. Everyone who comes to me, they sit there and say, hey, he's doing great job with the VQ community. And that's all I hear is nothing but praise. But in the VR community, I haven't been getting praise from as a tuner. I haven't been getting praise, and I'm not searching for these answers. People are coming to me saying this is the issue I'm running into. So what I'm gonna sit there and be honest is this: when you tune a car, you're gonna run into issues. If this Montef is watching, he knows what I'm talking about. If you're gonna tune a car, not every car is created equal. Things will break. It's tuning is not sometimes the easiest thing to do in a car, but sometimes if someone keeps tuning this platform and every car that he tunes is running into issues, but people who are tuned by Z1 Motorsports, Specialty Z, Martin, AMS, and they're not running into issues. So is it really the cars that he's been working on, or is it the tuner? I'll leave that up to you. So my recommendation, there's other great tuners out there for the VR30 platform, such as Racebox, Z1 Motorsports, Specialty Z, Martin, AMS, and a few others. So definitely look into them. Shout out to you from the Bronx, bro, man. Miles, what's going on, man? Shout out to the Bronx, man. Okay, let me see. 2017 Q50 power shifters. Yeah, you're gonna probably have to get the column mounted power shifters. I have a video talking about how to get it done. It's gonna be column mounted. It isn't gonna be steering wheel mounted. So look into that video. It's gonna send you a link to a Facebook group to actually purchase the harness, the power shifters that you can use, and other information. All right. But I have a video about it. It's definitely on my channel, like in the last 2 months. But with coilovers, do you lose sport suspension? If you have a red sport or a 3.0T sport with DDS suspension, this is pretty much like a slightly adjustable suspension for those specific two cars. Yes, if you go with coilovers, you do lose that adjustability, but RSR coilovers, RSR brand, they make a set of coilovers that you can actually plug the harness in, and then you can actually adjust it through your toggle. So RSRs are quite expensive. They're like $1,700, $2,000, but you won't lose the drop. You won't lose that function. But to be honest, it's not like coming from mag ride to coilovers. If you have mag ride, which is like Hellcats and those type of cars, then you're good. There's no point in going to get coilovers. But our adjustable DDS suspension is nothing like mag ride on that level. So not really running into anything. You just take it off and that's it. Now you have more adjustability. I mean, you won't get any check engine light or anything like that too if you disconnect the DDS suspension, because it will just still work like a regular shock. It's just that it's good to adjust it. Hopefully that answers your question, bro. I'm sorry. V Hunt, 3.T is my first turbo car, so I don't know what to look for when it comes to turbo issues. What are some of the signs of turbo problems? V Hunt, to be quite honest, oil leaks. Always looking for oil leaks. I mean, I don't know if you rent your car, you know, pretty often like doing stuff with your car. But outside of that, if it's a necessary new car, you look for oil leaks. You want to know if there's any external oil leaks or any oil consumption. Pay attention to that too. Because usually when you get turbo cars, it's not only turbo cars. Most manufacturers right now, from what I read based on engineering, they state that it's okay to lose like a quart of oil every 5 to 10,000 miles. And I'm just like, what? I read this in a few articles. Like, that's the way that they design these cars. That's why we have certain amount of blow by and PCV systems and everything like that. I'm just like, this is insane. To have a certain amount of blow up to eat this amount of oil doesn't make sense to me. But all in honesty, look for oil leaks. Look and see if you have any blue smoke coming out the tailpipe. You'll know what I'm talking about because it's gonna look like a blue tint of smoke. This is usually when your car is starting to eat a lot more oil, either from the engine or the turbo itself. Outside of that, a drastic change in performance or a huge difference in noise from the turbos. I'm talking about where it sounds like it's metal to metal contact, but car's probably not gonna run right at that point. What I would say there and say is to prevent this, just do oil changes pretty often. You don't want any buildup of any metallic metal in the oil because it gets into some of the bearings and some of these places where it have small amount of clearances between the two metal components. Always understand that it is a turbo car, so it needs a proper warm-up cycle. So if you live in New York like me, right? I start my car, I let it run for at least 5-10 minutes. I have auto start. I actually have to come out with a video about auto starts for you guys because you guys will be blown away. But start the car for 5-10 minutes and let it warm up. The oil temperature is not the coolant temperature that you see on the dash. From what I looked at from data logs and when I usually look at how long it takes the oil to warm up, it takes a while. By the time the coolant is warm, the oil still hasn't even reached 100, depending on the temperature outside, sometimes haven't even reached 100 Fahrenheit yet. Usually you want your oil temps to get around 160 and up, 150, 160. So yeah, for the first 15 minutes, I would say for the first 15 to 20 minutes of your drive cycle from when you start the car and you've even driven it lightly, don't get on it. Don't beat on the car. Also, when you come to park your car, some people will honestly sit there and say, let the car idle and cool off a little bit. I'm not gonna sit there and say I recommend it because when I look at oil temperatures from driving and then parking the car, the oil temperatures are fine. So there's really no purpose of letting the car cool down. Now, if you knew you were racing the car, beating on the car, going through it, and then you just pull up to your house and you just like, all right, and you park it. Yes, I would recommend letting the oil temperatures come down a little bit, maybe 5 minutes or less. At least the oil temperatures come down, because outside of that, you were just beating on the car. So I would say just looking more into preventative. I don't say maintenance, but just do proper procedure when you get in the car and when you get out of the car. That's it. That was actually a good question. Hopefully I answered that one good enough to you guys and you feel more comfortable. Funny you mentioned the power shift is because I'm looking at a 7-speed swap to this 07 G37. I mean, I don't know. It's probably possible to swap to the 7-speed automatic on the G37, G35X. It's probably possible, I assume. But at that point, you spend a lot of money. Listen, there's nothing wrong with loving your car. I'm just saying, like, the amount of you spend under $1,000 for the transfer case. You're probably gonna need a TCM. It probably won't work off the TCM for the 5-speed automatic, so you're probably gonna have to swap over to that. I don't know if that works properly or how they actually communicate with each other. So I really don't have the information on that. If you were saying you were going 6-speed manual swap, then I could probably understand a lot more. But 7-speed, I don't know how that would really work. Will unplugging the all-wheel drive do damage if I prolong time just to have a rear-wheel drive mode? I don't see why it would actually cause a problem. He's talking about when you guys do, you could either unplug the harness in the trunk or on others Q50s and Q60s, there's a little button under the brake pedal. I've talked about this before in some of my videos. I actually have videos on how to do burnouts in your all-wheel drive. I don't see how it would actually be an issue because all it really does is the transfer case now, it pretty much turns off the ABS and the yaw system, technically the yaw system. So now the front drive shafts won't be engaged from the transfer case. So that means that most of the power always goes to the rear of the car. And it's an open differential in the rear anyway. So I don't really see that as much of a problem because there's no real, it's so fluid driven in the transmission and the back is open diff. So it's just going to do what it's supposed to do. Outside of that, what I would sit there and say is, well, the only problem I could see as an issue is if you keep drifting, the coolant, the differential oil and the differential will start warming up because it just is. So you're probably going to add more heat into the rear differential fluid. But I assume this is if you keep beating on the car, you keep sliding and stuff like that and really going in. But by that time, you'll probably burn out your tires, I would assume, and melt them up or, whatever. You'll burn out so much meat off the tires that you won't even get to that. So that's the only problem I would see. To sit there and see that you guys would heat up the differential fluid or oil a lot hotter because there's really no way to cool it off. Give me a minute, guys. The VQs burn oil too. Nissan needs to know what catch cans. Well, to be honest with you, when I had the DE, all my oil burning issues came from the PCV system. All of them. And I realized when I deleted that system or added a breather, all my oil consumption went away. Also, on top of that, I've noticed it depends on the type of oil I use. So if I use a very lightweight oil like a 020 or even a 030, well, I would say like a 020, maybe a 030, that the oil will actually go a lot. Depending on the heat outside, I will lose a bit more oil. But when I went like a 040 or a 5W40, I really didn't have any oil consumption issues on my DE. So that kind of blew my mind a little bit, I guess, because it depends on the temperature of the oil and how much that oil vaporizes. So, well, I won't say vaporizes, but you know, when the oil gets to a certain amount of heat, yeah, it could actually condense, like turn to a vapor, and that's what gets into the catch can. And sometimes that stuff cools off and condenses, and that's why you have so much buildup of oil or certain other fluids in your catch can. But yes, depending on, there are people who have oiling issues. I oil change every 2500, and winter I start my car and press the gas hard. Shout out to Winter in the chat, man. Yo, you got an X4M, brother. Yeah, Winter has an X4M. I just want you guys to know that. And he's saying that he just starts the car and goes. That is wrong to do to your S58, brother. That's wrong to do. Wow, I got a few guys on there. I mean, listen, I know it's right now at 1:15 p.m. on a Saturday, so it's probably, as some people stated, it's probably like around 10:15 or 11:15 more on the West Coast. So some of you guys are probably still sleeping. But yeah, I just wanted to answer some of you guys' questions. Once again, for everybody who's watching, there's a pin right there from Bradford White. Me, Enthusiast POV, Speed Cultures, and OTM, and Bradford White's going to be there, and his Ultima and his Ultima crew. We're holding a car meet, socially distanced. I mean, it's not really socially distanced, but just have your face mask on and just properly prepare yourself for that. You know, understand that you're still in this world and you want to protect others, right? But it's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, November 7th. That's next week. From 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's a daytime meet, so it's not no nighttime or anything nonsense. And you guys are gonna get to meet some of your favorite YouTubers. You're gonna see a VR30 swap, a VR30 swap 370. And to be honest with you guys, I'm actually hitting up some other people that live in the area, and maybe they'll come out and you guys can actually meet some more people from the community that you might have seen online or even in videos. So this may be great. You know, it might be one of the best car meets I've ever seen in the Nissan Infiniti spectrum. Thank you. I'm gonna try it, lease this up. Okay. I hope no check engine light turns on. Wait. So thank you. Gonna try it. I lease this car. So wait. You won't get a check engine light, but you will get a warning on the dash saying the differential is heated up and not drive the car. It's just a warning light. Because if your ABS, if one of your ABS sensors goes dead, it'll say the same thing. It's just a warning, but you're not going to run into any issue. But yes, I've done it on my car too. Plenty of people do it on their car for videos and stuff. But I don't think that's something you should just do. And just having an open differential all the time stinks road drive. I don't know how you road drive guys do it. It stinks. Without traction control, you can hit anything. That's it. But that's just my experience. I suck at road drive. My 3.7 burnt oil for the first time last week after beating on it. It's probably because you were beating on it. The oil temperatures got really hot. But just take a look and see if it really, maybe the oil didn't condense all the way back into the oil pan. Outside of that, maybe you want to change the oil. Maybe go with you can go with a GTR oil. What is it? A GTR oil filter. They're usually a little bit bigger. They clean out the oil a lot better because it's just more material to filter the oil. A lot of people choose to do that. It's like the same price. What's the first and second bolt-on you would do? Would buy for Q50? 3.7. My first modifications. Well, I'm gonna just tell you straight up. This is just me all the time with any car. Coilovers and wheels and tires. That's it. I think the driving experience always needs to be better. Yes, you can get a faster car, right? But to me, I really care about the handling of the car, because if the car's 200 horsepower, but it sucks. But if it handles on rails, you actually enjoy the driving experience. And two, I would sit there and say is the wheels, because wheels is just like anything. We wear sneakers on our feet. We've got boostinmotion t-shirts. It depends on our Teespring account below if you guys want to order some boostinmotion merch. Throw that in there. But with wheels, it's like one of the best things that changes the look of the car drastically. Especially with the type of tires you go with too, changes the handling, the driving feel. So literally, when you have a car that's lowered right, it doesn't have to be slammed. When you have the proper fitment where the wheels don't stick out a whole lot or the wheels don't sunk it in, it just sits nice and smooth. And you go with a nice meaty tire, or if you guys like thin tires, up to you guys. But go with a nice, good fitment. I think that changes up the look of the car, and the driving feel, no matter if the car is stock or modified. That's one of the best 2 modifications I always do on all my cars. Good question, man. I think I might get a 400 horsepower JB4 package with a tune and an intake. Manuel, it's up to you. This way, I know it's like a 450 horsepower package. The JB4 is cool. You can do it stock, you can do it modified. It's up to you. With JB4, it's easy. Just plug it in. That's it. You just plug it in, leave the car stock, have a lease for 2-3 years, and then give it back. If you're owning the car and financing it, it's a good way to like gauge the increase in power and have the reliability be, just be okay with the feeling. If you want more, then you're like, all right, cool. I want a faster Q50. So what can I do? Well, let's look into lower downpipes. Let's look into CATBACK exhaust. But if we turn up the boost, we're gonna need a heat exchanger because we don't want to heat soak the car that quickly. So we look into heat exchangers. And then once you get those bolt-ons, you're like, all right, cool. I like how the car is. The JB4 is cool now on slightly modified Q50, Q60, right? So then you're like, you know what? I've been hearing everyone talking about the tunes are better. So then you look into a tuner, Racebox, AMS, Martin, Specialty Z, different tuners out there. And then you get the car tuned, and then you're like, wow, this was actually another step up. So honestly, if it was really up to me, 3.0T, watch me, guys. This is everybody on video. First thing, 3.7, but let me not make fun of the thing. Matter of fact, 2.0T guys are like down here. I know I have 2.0T guys watching, but in all seriousness, when we come to 3.0T realm, 3.0T Red Sport, JB4 3.0T, JB4 Red Sport. This is with modifications too. It could be bolt-on and everything here. Outside of that, both the same line. Once you got bolt-ons and well, that don't even look right. But when you got bolt-ons and all your proper bolt-ons and you get tuned, they're both those cars on the same level. So remember, it's the same turbos, same engine, same transmission. Once you get full-fledged tuned, that's it. Boom, your guys are the same here. But yeah, it's really up to you. Mr. HR, okay, my HR burns a half a quart every 3K. That sounds about right. And I can't find the cause. I'm about to strip the whole block. Miles, my recommendation is this. I did this on my HR. I'm not telling you to go do it. If you like to mess with cars and everything like that, do this at your own risk. Do a PCV. Yeah, PCV block off. Pretty much you disconnect it. You put a block off or breather for the PCV valve and try that out. Usually some of these cars, they drink a lot of the oil depending on how it builds up in the valve covers through the PCV into the intake. You'd be surprised. Try that out. It's up to you if you want to do it. Some people might say don't do it. Screw that YouTuber. He can go to hell. I'm only telling you from my experience on what I did with my car. That's it. But if you did that for the next 1,000 miles and it's still burning oil, then of course the oil is being burnt probably through the piston rings. There might be a slight gap between there, and that's where it's burning up a bit more. All right. It's best to look and see where the oil is going. If you go into the intake manifold, you're always going to see a bit of oil because the PCV, the condensation starts to build up in there when it cools. So you're going to see oil in the in-track runners. But, just take a look and look around, all right? Yeah, okay, let me show that. So Joe said, you need supporting mods if you don't want to F up the engine. Not really. You don't really need. You can do JB4 in a complete stock car. It's just that you don't really want to run an excessive amount of boots and beat on the car every waking minute. These are not race engine guys. These are just regular economy twin turbo 6s. So they don't have the proper amount of cooling for the oil. They don't have a proper amount of cooling for the turbos, so you don't start heat soaking. But outside that, the radiator fluid does pretty good. But those two things are necessarily important: heat exchanger fluid and oil temperature. Also, you don't have no way to read the temperature in the transmission too. So, you don't want to beat on these cars like if it's a freaking full-fledged race car. So, but you can do JB4 in a complete stock car, bro. Fuel wires worry me because I'm not good at installing them. You don't need to install fuel wires. Everyone's watching. You don't need to install fuel wires with your JB4. Reason being is the fuel wires only kick in at high RPM at full load. So if you're doing road racing or you're at the racetrack, they only kick in from like 4 to 5,000 RPM, and it brings up the AFRs from like 11, low 11s to like high 11s, low 12s, which necessarily, unless you're E30, there's really no benefit, because 93, that means you push your car way more closer to pre-detonation. That's why I don't really mess with fuel wires on 93 fuel. You mess with fuel wires on an E30 mix, and only if you're racing and going to drag strip. Outside of that, you're not really using it, so you don't really have to install them. And I think they come in every kit now, so you don't have to install them. And they're pretty annoying to install. Why are Infiniti so slow? Well, Manuel, man, to be honest, man, they suck, man. They freaking suck. Like Camrys could beat the 3.7s. We got freaking Civic Type R's that could beat the 3.0Ts, man. This stinks, man. Like I really hate it. But in all seriousness, though, Infinitis, to be honest, like, you know, I think they're very affordable luxury cars. And to be honest, compared to the competition, what is Acura doing? Nothing. What is Lexus doing? Nothing. So we already beat them. But now we're comparing ourselves to like European cars of the same class. C43, right around the same. Of course, it's a more luxurious car, but performance-wise, tuning downpipes, they're right around the same. We compare ourselves now to the B58. We're not the same. The B58 is just a better driveline. B58 motor, closed deck, ZF transmission. It's just a better car. That's it. Audis, well, Quattro. I think they have their S4 is what? It's still, no, it's single turbo now, but it's like a single turbo D-Tune 2.9. I think. I'm not too positive. I haven't checked the S4's specs now. I know they used to be supercharged 6, but I think they went over to turbo 6 now, single turbo 6. So just double check me, guys, if you guys already know. I know the RS5 is a 2.9 6-cylinder single turbo, but I think the S4s are either a smaller turbo or something like that. So just double check me, guys. But yeah, the Audi's better too. We can't compete with those cars, you know. So it is what it is. So that's why they're slow. But then you can make them fast and then send it. So every mechanic I call is telling me not to bother with low downpipes or high flow cats if I want to pass emissions every year. At CAMZ, to be honest, it depends what state you are. At the start of this video, I was talking about it. I don't really recommend certain modifications such as full downpipes or full callus downpipes because it depends on your emissions in your state, and that's it. Some states, they don't look at the visual. Some states, they actually put your car on a lift and they look and see if you made any modifications. Some states like New York, they just plug it in and they say, oh, you don't have no check engine lights, and then they look at your car, there's no tint, you're good to go. So it all depends on where you live. But lower downpipes depends on where you live. Do you think that the lightest rotors for the Z1 are worth the money? I'm going to sit there and say this on video for the people who are watching. He's talking about if you have the sport brakes for your G37, Q60, Q50, 370Z, pretty much the Akabono calipers, right? They make a lightweight rotor. They're about 10 pounds lighter each rotor. I have a video talking about installing the BBK on my car, and even a difference in weight. It's insane coming from the regular non-sport rotors to the larger ones. It's a big difference. Yes, is it worth it? Depending on what you're using it for. If you know you like to go to the track, you like to do a lot of sport racing, and you really care about spending the money on your car, like if you really care about doing that, then yes, it is. It's going to change up the driving feel. It's going to be lighter in the steering, and it takes away a lot of the rotational mass. So when you make the front end a lot lighter, you have better acceleration. So it's going to change up the driving feel. 10 pounds on every corner is definitely a big difference. If you ever came from stock wheels to lightweight wheels, you know what I'm talking about. Some of the people are watching, you know what I'm talking about. You came from your stock heavy wheels to a lighter weight set, it changes up the whole driving feeling a lot more. So just imagine lighting up the rotors. But outside of that, if you're just like, hey, I don't really care, like I just want to be able to brake faster, then, you know, just go get some better more pads that have more friction. That's it. You don't have to spend all the time the extra money for that. You get it for its use, you know what I'm saying, and its purpose. So if you just want better brakes, that's not really, even though lightweight rotors they're better. Two-piece rotors actually are better at mitigating heat, so they won't heat up as fast as the stock rotors. Also, on top of that, when you go with lighter weight rotors, usually your braking gets a little bit better because there's less rotational mass. But outside of that, once again, you're getting it for its purpose. So it's up to you. Sorry, man. I really feel like I didn't answer that question good enough. Don't beat me up, man. When tightening screws, does torque pounds really matter? Javier, of course it actually matters. Like, torque specs definitely matter. But in videos, you probably guys never see me torque anything. Like, don't beat me up. I probably really don't torque anything because it's like I'm not gonna torque like a 10 millimeter screw. Like, it's tight. That's it. Like, what I do pay attention to torque specs is this one thing and one thing only. That when I work on cars, wheels. Lug nuts torquing is the most important thing to me because if the wheel falls off, I could die. Like I said, when I usually do these race videos and stuff like that back in the day, like if a wheel falls off at 120 miles an hour, like I'm dead. So that's what I actually pay attention to, torque specs. Wait, will I fail inspection if I do high flow cats? It depends on what state you're in. I don't know what state or country you're in, if they actually look into your inspection stations, wherever country or whatever state you live in, and see what they do. Do they do visuals? Or do they do just plug it in to see if you have a check engine light? It all depends. I know California has smog and all this other visual stuff, so I don't live in California, so I don't know. But in New York City, plug it in. You have no tints, no codes, you're good to go. Best. Okay, Boost looking good, bro. Thank you, man. New lineup of hairstyle. The new RWD race box. Yeah. Yeah, shout out to Racebox. Rocky in the chat is talking about Racebox. It's a tuning company owned by Hussein. His car did 1087 on upgraded turbos from RT Tuning and E85 at the track. So that's actually really good to see that, and it's getting a lot better. When you hosting the next meet in New York City at F30, to be honest, I don't even know, bro, because New York City is funny. There's a lot of big parking lots, but these parking lots don't like a bunch of cars in them. And there's always a group of people that come to these car meets and do a little too much. I've actually have a lot of content from when I went to car meets and recorded, but I don't really bring out those videos because one, you guys didn't like them. You don't watch them. You're like, oh, I don't care about it. So I'm like, I'm not gonna post it anymore. Two, most of these car meets now turned into flame map and burble map meets. So it's like my exhaust has flames, my exhaust has gunshots, and that's really what it turned into. And I don't really care for it. To be honest, when I go to Mopar meets or meets where people are drifting, I actually like those side shows a little bit more because it's just more adrenaline pumping to watch. So, but outside of that, if I'm gonna host a meet, I don't really want that type of stuff going on because I don't want anyone to get hurt. That's number one. Number two, the flame map versus bubble map meets, I don't really care for it. Like, I just don't. Like, some of that stuff is really loud. I mean, listen, I'm an older dude. I love how it looks, but that shit be loud, yo. And it's like, all right, you did it. Okay, you did a good job. All right, after 5 minutes, I'm like, I'm over it. Can we stop now? Can we just move on? Back in the day when I used to go to car meets, this is what happened. You go to a car meet or car something in the middle of the night, right? And you guys hang out, you talk, and then one guy says, yo, your car is slow. Another guy's like, race me. And next minute, I'm seeing racing. And that was what it was. Like, I enjoyed that so much more, but now it's just everyone's just parking and chilling and flame maps, burbles, and sliding, which is cool. I like the sliding. That's it. Woo! Cams, yeah, I don't know how Massachusetts is, Cam, so you gotta look into your mission station. Black man, thoughts on the Z1 subframe bushing collars? From what everyone told me that has installed them on a car, they said it would definitely change up the firmness in the rear end. So I trust Enthusiast POV, I trust Speed Cultures, I trust there's a few other people that in the community have put these Z1 collars on, so I recommend doing so. One more question, Boost. 2017 34K. I own the car, not a lease. Do you recommend getting a tune or wait until my warranty is done? That's up to you, man. Most people's cars don't run into issues, and if you know you're on top of your maintenance, you really shouldn't have an issue. So my recommendation is, one, if you are going to get a tune, get tuned by some of the best companies out there that can tune your car that usually have a high approval rating. AMS. You also have Racebox, or the Go Racebox. You have Martin. He's in Florida. I forgot. It's called Run Sympathy. Someone will comment below. You also have Specialty Z, and you also have Z1 Motorsports. There may be a few other tuners that I'm not speaking about in this video. Some I'm not going to reference because they didn't have high approval ratings or positive ratings. So just choose to do that at your own, you know, just choose it. Just be careful, man. That's it. That's all I can tell you. Just be careful. But because you own the car, I don't think it's a problem with going to optimum performance. But understand, with the higher mileage on your turbos, sooner or later, if you're not on top of maintenance, these turbos start to weaken out. You know what I'm saying? They will run into issues where they have an external oil leak. You know, but if you go with a proper tuning, he keeps everything within specs, and you keep on top of your maintenance and not beat on the car every waking minute, then yeah, you should be okay. My car has been on JB4 since I got it 3 years ago, right? 3 years ago, been on JB4 for a year and a half. The other half of that year, my car's been tuned. So even with more power, my car still runs right. Haven't had a check engine light yet in the last 25,000 miles. It's up to you. Thanks for knowledge. I think I'm the only person without a Cash App, so I'm gonna have to buy a T-shirt. Listen, man, at V Hunt, man, I appreciate it. If you want to donate to the channel, I'm super appreciative of that. If you want to buy a T-shirt, that's okay. If you always just want to hit the like button, that's free. If you always want to watch old videos, or at least let the videos play, I mean, get that watch time up. You know what I'm saying? Like, get that watch time up. You can do that too. That's some of the stuff you guys can do for free. Let me see this. The camera's messing up a little bit. You can do that for free also. How about the pedal tuners? Do you think it's worth it? Emmanuel, I think I answered this a few times already. If you are going to get a full-fledged tune, you don't need a pedal commander. But if you have like a JB4 and you want to change the sensitivity of the gas pedal, look into the Burger tuning version. It definitely changes the feel of the car, and I definitely loved it when I had JB4. Engineers torque to spec on a good mechanic can tighten it properly based on experience and feel. Derek, I agree. Torque, I honestly think torque to spec is very dependent on what part you're torquing to spec. Because if it's a tiny little bowl, then it's inch pounds are a little different. You know what I'm saying? But if it comes to, let's say, an axle nut, right? You don't want a loose axle nut because it goes through so much torque. So if it's loose, then you run into issues later down the line. But most mechanics just say, air gun, axle nut. That's it. And is it tight? Is it not moving no more? That's it. It ain't gonna fall off. But the reason why sometimes we don't want to over torque these components is because it usually takes away from the life of the metal. It starts to stretch them out, and they actually lose torque. So if you go above the torque, the next time you go and retorque it, you actually have less tension in it. Yeah, it actually happens. It's like a torque fatigue or something like that. Forgot what the exact wording would be. Bear with me. Finesse, what do you think about spacers? Finesse King, I've been rocking spacers. Everyone's watching. I've been rocking spacers. Not now, but every car that had stock wheels, or if I wanted to help with the fitment, I've always rocked spacers. I've always used hub-centric spacers with the pressed-in studs for probably over 10 years now. From my Maxima days when they were saying, spacers are terrible, never rock spacers. But you go to any of these lifted trucks, they've been having spacers. Drift cars have spacers. So please don't tell me spacers are bad. Not you, but don't tell me spacers are bad. If you torque your spacers properly, you're never going to run issues into them. If you get hub-centric spacers designed for the hub bore of your wheels, you'll never run into vibration issues. That's it. That's it. That's literally it. And I've had Z1 Motorsport spacers all the way to eBay spacers. As long as you get the ones that are designed for your car, that are hub-centric, and you torque them properly, and then you retorque them after 100 or 500 miles, just to make sure that they're good, never will have an issue. Plus, I have a video talking about how to install them too. So a lot of you guys who ask me these questions, I literally have a video on either installing these parts or talking about them. It's just that you guys just got to my content, so you're like, oh, I'm not gonna go back in a day, but there's plenty of videos that I have ready. Okay, cool. Yeah, Envoys meets and charges swinging in there. They do a lot. Yeah, I agree. I love to see more races. Are you far from Caesars Bay? Yeah, I know where Caesars Bay is. I don't go to Caesars Bay anymore because I just don't. Like, it's not the same. And plus, it's a different group of people. Usually when you go to Caesar's Bay, it's more high-end cars, luxurious cars. When you go like more to the like Erskine, more of like East New York, Brown, you get different, like you'll get Infinis, Nissans and stuff. So I actually like that more. Or you can go to like Long Island, you go to like Sunrise and stuff like that. But my boy, he slides his if you guys don't already know, like I have two boys. Like I have my boy who has a wide body Hellcat, wide body Hellcat. He slides his car. I have at least 1-2 videos on him, but he slides his car. He goes to all these meets. He actually has a whole group, Shake the Block. Like legit, my boy has a whole slide group, Mopars, Shake the Block. He's literally like one of the owners. So I don't want you guys to ever think I'm not in the car culture. I just choose not to record that stuff because you guys don't watch it. You don't watch it. You don't like Mopars, and I get it. But you know, I'm in that car culture. My other boy has a 5.0 Mustang. These guys are my friends. Like I'm always been around fast, powerful cars. You know. Okay, cool. Mahad that because that person wrote the wrong word, and I'm not gonna put that on my channel. So yeah. So at what is it, Mimati Boss? Yes, don't use those type of words and the derogatory statements here, but I appreciate it though. What do you think car guys in New York City should do now that it's getting cold out? Nothing. We live most places that have some kind of car culture and it usually gets cold and snowy. We don't really do much. I mean, unless you build your car, usually that's when you pull the motor out. You take off your lower suspension or you raise your car coilovers. You take off your nice wheels and you put on your stock wheels for the winter. And we just survive. We just do maintenance and survive and work on the next modifications for the spring. We build ourselves up in spring. But some of you guys that are watching, you live in southern states or more warmer areas. You guys get to do car stuff 12 months throughout the year. So even with me, like I love cars. I love doing stuff with cars. But I mean, as I get older, I realize that it's getting a lot more strict in New York City for car culture. And we don't have any racetracks that are closed. We don't have no open areas. We don't have nothing in New York City that's car culture other than bag your car, flame maps, and verbal maps and stuff like that. And I'm just not into that, you know. There's no wrong with bags. I would love to bag a car, but that's what it turned into, flames and pops. And that's the fad for now. And I don't really care for it, you know. Always hitting the like button. Thank you, man, Rocky. Okay, cool. Cams, we need some more Mod to Fame airstrip videos. Those videos were really dope. Yeah, Camzy. This year because of COVID, he couldn't host any events. Literally, he could not host any events. Because of the restrictions, and also because of that, they just say something with FAA. Just say no, you can't do it anymore. So there was supposed to be 2 events that were supposed to happen in October. But they ended up canceling, and now it's colder. That's it. There's no more events. He was supposed to have an event March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. That would have been 8 events I would have went to. But because COVID, because of the FAA, because I guess they don't even care about this stuff anymore, he couldn't host the events. And other people who wanted to host events there couldn't do it either. It wasn't only him. ACO Raceway, the drag strip, is 2 hours away from me. So I can't get races in. I'm not driving 2 hours to race my car down a drag strip for 11 seconds 3 times. I'm not doing that. It's no return on investment for me. And plus, whenever they do have a test and tune, it's on a Tuesday, I'm working, or Friday, I'm working. So it's not possible, you know. And outside of that, some of you guys live in states where you guys, you know, I'm not, because I have a lot of police officers, I have troopers, I have DAA, I have a lot of people who are actually that work in law enforcement that follow me because they have q50s, and I love and appreciate them so much. So I'm never trying to advocate for racing and stuff, but if you do want to go to Mexico and race, New York City is not the place for it. There's really no place to really open it up in the 5 boroughs. There's just too much congestion. I'm not saying you guys can go out there and race and risk your life, but like there's literally nowhere. If I lived in an area where I had a lot more open road, like Texas, some parts of Florida, and just other states that I live close to these open spaces, then yes, I can get into, you know, quick, you know, road races with a few people and make that type of content. Like if you guys watch Rush Shift, you know, he has a lot of road races, and I guess he catches into them when he can because he's next to a major highway where it's nice and big and you meet different people. But New York City is just not. We don't got it. Like it stinks, man. But I definitely love the car content, and it was definitely a good part of it. And we'll see what happens next year. Good question, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, Finesse. Just did a tune at Auto Dynamics Long Island, and at 200. So Juan Gonzalez said he went to Real Auto Dynamics, and you only made 289, I assume, wheel horsepower. How do you feel about the shop always looking for more? I only have drop-in filters and up rev tone. Okay, that's why. That's why it's super low. You need to do at least test pipes and a CATBACK exhaust or some intakes, man. There's an intake manifold swap. The car probably feels a lot better, but I honestly think you didn't really gain much power getting a tune on just drop-ins. You're gonna have to do test pipes to alleviate a lot of the back pressure off the motor, some intakes or intake manifold swap from Z1 Motorsports, and that's it. Like I would recommend you doing that. Then you can make 310, 350, 15 wheel horsepower, which is technically a different car. So my recommendation, bro, go that route. If you don't want to do test pipes, do high flow cats, the cheapest ones that you can find. That will bump you another 10 to 15 wheel horsepower, and this is throughout the rev range too. So it would feel like a different car. But if you're okay with where it is where it is. Do you have an HPA Posh? Yes, I do know HPA Posh in South Brooklyn. I know exactly where the shop is. Yeah, that's where most of the BMW guys are. I know where all the car culture is. Yeah, I just choose not to get mixed up in it or get mixy in it. I'm trying to stay in my give me a second, guys. I'm trying to stay in my own lane, you know. The funny thing is people would hit me up like, Boost, I didn't even know you was in Brooklyn. I didn't even know you was in the car culture. I was like, I am. I always been, but I don't choose to get into the mixy with all that stuff. I don't want to go to the Bronx and do road racing and dig racing for money. I don't do stuff like that. Like once you get older, like a lot of that stuff you just don't really care to do, or you don't have the space to do. I don't have the space. If I had the space to like open it up and just get into a few road races with 340Is and stuff like that, I would do it. But New York City doesn't give you that. We don't have access to that. So I'd rather not go an hour away just to do a road race with somebody, or 2 hours away to do a dig race at a drag strip. It just don't see the return on investment, and it's not convenient enough. But people will sit there and say, Boost, but if you want views, you got to do it. And I'd rather not, you know. What's going on, David? Okay, cool. To Boost, I'm gonna buy you a 340 on me. Yo, everybody's trying to get me in a BMW. No, listen, for anyone's watching, no disrespect to the 340i. I do like the B58 and I do like the ZF, but this is what I think about it. Yes, the B58 and ZF are the better driveline. It is a better transmission and it is a better motor. We know this, right? We know this, okay? But boost coming from a Q50 going into a 340 is a lateral movement to me. That's a lateral. It is a better drive line and it is a better motor and transmission, yes. But is it a better performing car? Like, is it an imperial car? No. For me to go into a BMW, the only BMW you'll probably ever see me get into is the new M3 all-wheel drive that's going to come out next year. S58. It's better. It's literally better than the B58, and it's an M3, which means it's better than the 340 or an M5. The only reason why I don't want to jump into an M5 is because I think those cars are so plain. It's a lot of car, but I think they're super plain. I would rather move into like an M550i or even a 540 with a sport package. Like those cars, I think are very good deals for what they are, because you get a lot of car. You get a B58 and a 540, right? And you get the V8 small. I forgot what the name of that. The 4.4 and the M550. Those two cars I think are really good deals for what they are for their lease rates, and they make good performance. If you want to get an M5, I get it, but those other two cars are really good for what they are worth. The 340 I think is a lot more car than the Q50, but to me, performance wise, it's still a lateral movement. It's like, all right, I got a new BMW, but it's like, all right, tune, downpipes, E30 mix. It's making around the same power. when people go to the track on the 340, they make around the same times we make. So I'm like, and trap speed. So I'm like, all right, for you to really see the benefit with getting the B58 is when you have to go full E85 and then just go ham. That's when you see the difference in it, because fully 85 B58 is going to be better than fully 85 of VR30. Then you and the thing is, even when you push it even harder, like you really can push that stock turbo so hard on the 340 out the B58 that it will make the amount of power that our RT or pure turbos would make. At that point, it's like, wow, he's still on stock turbo compared to this car with upgraded turbos. That's when I see when there's a big difference in change. But I don't want to go that far, and I'd rather not get a 340. I'd rather get the M3. Just saying. So don't beat me up, man. Some people are not gonna like that. Just hopped on there. Yo, appreciate that, Steve. David, yo, when we gonna see Boost in South Florida? David, I think you just jumped into the chat. I don't know when, but I have a big following down there, in Florida. But if you are close to Atlanta, Georgia, next week, you saw the little thumbnail. Once again, I'm gonna be in Atlanta, Georgia, November 7th from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. You're gonna also meet Enthusiast POV. You're also going to meet Newer TM with the 370Z with the VR30 in it. You're also going to meet speed coaches. And shout out to Bradford White, which is also going to be in his Ultimate crew, because he tagged the address. So definitely take that address. Hopefully the weather's good, and I'm going to get to see you guys socially distance properly, wear your face mask and stuff like that. I just want people to come and not sit there and say, Boost wants to kill us. You could do some races in Floyd Bennett. I've done some stuff in Floyd Bennett, but remember, it's federal ground, and some people have crashed in there a few times that I know. So yeah, but I'd rather not do that. It's not the smoothest place, and it's not the risk versus reward isn't something that I would do at this point anymore. Thanks for looking into the exhaust. I just don't want no raps or hate. Yeah, just check into NVIDIA exhaust. They don't raps that much. If you change your Q50, what car are you buying? No. Right now I can tell you guys straight up on video, because you guys have been watching me for almost 2 hours, and I'm probably gonna leave in like a few minutes. At this current moment, I'm still looking for a G37, but knowing that my lease is pretty much going back in 3 months, I may not get it. But at the same time, I'm also looking for a Q60. I'm looking to take over someone's lease. Yes, I'm actually looking for a lease swap. I don't want to own a Q60, but I do want to drive and experience the car for a short period of time and also make content for you guys. And I've always loved the look of it. So I'm actually looking to doing a lease swap with someone who's probably getting rid of a Q60 under 12 months. So that the Q50 goes back, I put the parts to the Q60, and you guys can actually see now, my following can see the buildup from what parts I've already picked, what's interchangeable, and you guys can get to see the stages now. But then after that, when the Q60 lease is done, that's probably it for the VR30. So we'll see what happens. The G37, I want to be able to get it so I can learn to drive stick really good. I know how to drive stick, guys. It's just that I don't know how to drive stick good. And all my friends know how to slide. I want to know how to slide. I want to know how to drift. I want to do that stuff. So I can see myself actually getting the G37 still regardless. I don't know if I'm going to have them both at the same time, but I want the G37 there so I'll have a more reliable daily. And finally, something's going to have to, I'm a 4-door lover. Oh, that's 8 doors. I'm a 4-door lover. So me getting a coupe isn't me. You might see a G37. I might keep it a year from now. You never know. But at some point, I'm going to have to get back into a 4-door. So, yeah. And it's going to have to be an all-wheel drive and have boost. That's it. If you change it, okay, cool. What do you, okay, Derek, my car should make close to 450 wheel horsepower. PSI, it all depends. Because PSI doesn't really mean anything. Hear me out. You can have a tuner that can give you 18 PSI. Depending on the timing and the elevation, can give you 450 wheel horsepower. But another tuner could give you 20 PSI and also give you 450 wheel horsepower, but didn't do the tuning as good, or the tuning isn't as aggressive. But most of the time, to make 450 wheel horsepower, I've seen tuners do between, I would say 17, 18 PSI to 20, depending on fuel, elevation, and the temperature outside. Yo, Boost, awesome channel. Thank you, Marcus, man. Oh, thank you for showing love. Why do you think Nissan doesn't make sport versions for the SUV like the Dodge and Jeep? Because it's Nissan at the governor. Nissan, listen, Dodge does a great job at marketing, and that's really it. Like, Dodge knows what they're doing. People want raw muscle, American big bodies with V8s. Like, that's amazing. And that's a chemistry that they do great. Chevy cannot compete with that. Chevy can't. And Ford can't either. Yes, they make the Ford 150, but they realize that if we made a Ford 150 like the Lightning, right, which did pretty good 20 years ago, they should have did it then. I mean, of course they have the what's the Ford they have right now? You guys know what I'm talking about. The Ford truck right now that could go off road. It's a Savage truck, has the EcoBoost V6 in it. Whatever that is. The Raptor, right? The Raptor is dope. But I think they dropped the ball by not putting a V8 in a Raptor, or even, let's say, making a Raptor with a supercharger. Knowing that now they have a GT500, you should see that GT500 in like a Raptor or a Ford 150 now. They should do it so that they can make a competitor, but for like the Trackhawk and stuff, but they're not going to do it because they want to go to electrification. So they're going a different route. Dodge knows that they have a monopoly on this. You want a big sedan or truck with a V8 and a supercharger? Dodge. That's it. Where else am I gonna go? And Infiniti, their buyers like crossovers. They like to buy small sedans or crossover vehicles, such as the QX50, QX60. These are the cars that sell, so they're going where the money is. That's it. They go out the future. Also, they want to go through electrification. Honestly, if you want to do the full send, just Tesla Model. Well, I don't think that's full send, Marcus. Tesla Model 3 Performance only runs 11.6 at about, I think, 118 miles an hour at the track. That's a quick car for what it is. Yes, it's really fast. And it's also almost $80,000 for that. Just being honest with you. Tech-wise, it's dope. But 11.6, right? 11.6, 118. My car does 120 about 111.8, and that's because I was spinning out the hole. So and also 93 fuel, and the car is also, you can get a 3.0T for $20,000. So, and it's also gasoline power versus electric. So it depends on what you really want it for. But if you would have said full send, then you would have said, what is it, P100D or whatever, Tesla Model S, whatever. Then those cars are dope. Those cars are mid of 10-second cars. That's full freaking send now. No matter what, you do that in the street and the track, you'll always have that performance. Those cars are full freaking send. That's like a cheat code. Like, that's it. No matter how, oh, your car is quick. Oh, you have a Porsche with upgraded turbos? That's dope. Let's race right here, right now on my Model S, P100D. And you can actually compete with them. Like, I don't know how, but you actually can, because electricity is dope. I was ranting it. I'm sorry, guys. They should put a red sport engine in an SUV. That's what I talked about. The governor. I've hinted that if they do go longitudinal mounted for the QX60, which is coming out, and the QX55, which you guys are gonna see the release November 11th. If they go longitudinal mounted, either they're gonna put the VR30 in it and/or the 2.0T in it, or it'll be a parallel hybrid. It will be dope if they put the VR30 in a new QX55 or QX60, because some of you guys, like me, are going to start a family or have a family with kids, and you like the Q50, you like the Q60, but it's not enough space. So the only place that for you to go and get a performance-oriented car, you'll have to go to BMW or Volkswagen or something like that. And sometimes you want us to have the performance, knowing that you have you're comfortable with this VR30. You're like, oh, it's in the QX55 now, and I could just JB4 it, and I could tune it to 500 horsepower. I could do upgraded turbos on it and have a 600 wheel horsepower QX55. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And it'd be a family hauler. You guys will do it. But anyways, that's wishful thinking. Laugh Out Outdoors. Raptor sounds good. It's not. They're not making the Bronco V8. Yeah, I read that they're definitely not making the Bronco V8. That is a let me down. I get you, bro. What a boost. Okay. That's a good question. Lionel, what a boost. Quick question. If I put a supercharger on my Q50 3.7 400K, how long do you think the training will last? From everybody I followed that have went supercharged on their 3.7, the transmission starts to slip. It's that the transmission can't handle over 450 pounds of torque for a long period of time. You can put in a transmission cooler, but there's just not enough clutch packs, and you're going to have to build a transmission. Or you live in a spectrum now where people are doing this modification. And I don't think I came out with a video about it. I should definitely do it. There's so much videos I haven't come out with. People are now putting the 7-speed 2016 and up 7-speed automatic transmission in their older Q50s and their G37 and 370Zs. There's more clutch packs. It's the transmission is actually built to handle a lot more torque. So that is a cheap modification rather than going with a full send level 10 transmission. Yes, it's way cheaper. You can get these transmissions up to damn near $500 at a lot. 2016 and up 7-speed automatics. Hit up Infiniti Brothers on YouTube, and maybe I should go definitely look more into these videos for you and actually just make a staple video on how to pretty much cheap out on a transmission that can handle 600 pounds of torque. That's it. Because the superchargers usually give you right around 450 to 500, depending on your tuner, and that the tuners try to keep the torque levels down on those 7-speed, but usually they go bad regardless. If I got you, I seen you also. They're beating. Okay, cool. Do you think the Q60 will go away anytime soon, or will be affected by the 400Z coming out? I don't think it will be, Justin. Reason being is the Q60 been out 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020. Someone said that there's a 2021. So usually they give a refresh, and I haven't seen a refresh of this car yet. So if there is a 2021 version, that's 5 years without a refresh, which is weird. So they may never change the Q60, and then they may not drop a 2022 model. Or what they do is the 2021 model is going to come out, and technically the 400Z is supposed to be the 2022 model. So if we're going to see the 400Z next year, it'll be a 2022 model, which means that if they're doing a refresh, they may do a refresh also on the Q. This is just me ballparking. If they do a mid refresh, which is not really mid because it's been 5 years, it will probably be the 2022 model, which will probably get released sometime later next year. I would assume, right? Also, pay attention to this. They're dropping the new QX55. How it will look November 11th. This is in 11 days. Look and see how that car's tech look. Hopefully it's not a monogram. Hopefully they show the interior. Realize that the QX60 monogram was like a month ago, and you see the different look of the car on the outside, right? Also, Nissan is dropping another truck, a truck they used to be making. They're redoing the truck that's getting dropped soon. I forgot what's called, the name of the truck. It may not be sold over here. It might be sold overseas, but look at the tech in that car. Look at the Nissan Rogue. You see how the interior is a lot more up to date and nice. Look at the 400Z interior. A lot of this stuff, some of the stuff that we do like from these cars are going to be probably in the Infiniti. So they're probably going to do digital dash at some point, or they're going to let it time out. What I mean by timeout is that they might just scrap the Q50, Q60 and not really just redo the interior. They might just let it ride out and die and just axe it. But if they do a refresh for the Q60, you might see a digital dash. You might see a newer, up-to-date interior. We'll have to wait and see what they do, but I don't think they will redo the interior completely and keep the exterior looking the same way it is. So either they're gonna just let the Q60 die out and give us a complete new one, or same thing for the Q50. They might let the Q50 die out. That's been what, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. That's 8 years. Lord Jesus, 8 years. So they may do the Q60 and the Q50 at the same time. We have to wait and see, but with the QX55 and the QX60s, those two cars that are coming out are going to let us know where the Infiniti is going with Infiniti. So if those cars have 4-cylinder hybrids, the Q60, Q50 may either get scrapped or may get a drivetrain from a hybrid or 4-cylinder hybrid. If those cars have a VR30 option, there's probably going to be a VR30 option for the new Q50s, Q60s. We'll see. That falls 600 well with the weight of the kids in the back. Yes. Okay. I'm starting to smell burning oil in my okay. 57K is a lot higher, bro. Occasionally I see some smoke coming from the exhaust. Do you think the turbo seals are starting to go? Well, it all depends, David. What I would recommend is get the car on a lift and take a look. Actually see if you can see any oil dripping from the turbos. These turbos can leak externally, and you can see oil coming from it. So you may need to get the car on a lift and actually take a look, or jack the car up. Don't go under there without a proper jack stand and see if there's any oil buildup coming off the turbos. passenger and driver. That's where you might be smelling a burning oil smell. Out the exhaust, if you see a heavy blue tint, then yeah, it could actually happen. But usually the cat, shout out to Edwin Young, he talked about this in a lot previous live. When you have catted, when your car is catted up, you don't have full downpipes, you don't really see how much buildup of oil it is because it technically filters a lot of that oil and it builds up on the cat. It's not really coming out the exhaust. Gotcha. And when my Q60 turbos were leaking, they left oily on the back. Yeah, when they go bad, when your turbos go bad, you'll know they'll go bad because there'll be, like he said, there'll be a buildup of oil in your back bumper. It will be really bad, and the consumption will be a lot higher. What's your take on the Red Alpha 600 package? Poly G, to be honest, it's a pretty good kit. Well, not kit. The 600 package is pretty much the pure turbos, right? I can't remember. Is it the upgraded turbos or the pure turbos? I can't. Or their turbos. Poly G, let me know. Is that AMS selling their Garrett turbos, or is that just a pure turbo RT turbo kit that they set up? I can't remember. What is the most horsepower gain can I get out of my premium? To be honest, you're not really going to get much out of JB4. You'll probably get close to 450 horsepower, which is close to 400 wheel horsepower. So you'll get a bump. If you have a 300 horsepower version, you get close to about 450 horsepower with a heat exchanger, downpipes, and an aggressive map that you would use in your JB4. Probably, yo, just retype it, probably. Let me know if it's what you call it. I was supposed to go 5 minutes ago. Okay, so with their line, with their turbos, yeah. I've talked about this in a previous video. Pretty much, what's it about? They're gonna give you their larger Garrett turbos. They're gonna have their own custom full down pipes. You're gonna also need to get your own heat exchanger, your both ones that you already know, and go full send. But to be honest, you'll get you close to 600 wheel horsepower. But after that, that's on very low boost. You'll have to build a motor and transmission because the rods are going to go at some point and the transmission is going to go at some point. We don't know because no one really went that hard yet. And what I mean is nobody pretty much put big turbos on this car and really start pushing the rods past 600-ish pounds of torque. No one's really went that far. You might catch a few on stock rods and stock pistons and bearings and stuff. Pretty much a sealed motor. Not much people have really pushed it on that higher level because one, either they run out of turbo, which means that they're running too high boost. They're running out of fuel, so they can never really push it to a higher level. And when you go with the higher amount of PSI, you're more prone to knock. So people don't want to lift the head. No one wants to really blow a motor. So we don't really know the limitations yet. But as per AMS, they have stated that GTR motors can't handle over 600 pounds of torque-ish to their rods, close to 700 pounds of torque. So usually that's why they keep the torque low on the GTRs. So they assume that the VR30 is probably not as strong, probably less strong. So that's why they keep it under 600 pounds of torque. And other tuners have followed suit. Same thing with the transmission. They noticed that when you go over 600 pounds of torque to the transmission actually started slipping, especially when you go up to a higher gear. Shout out to Mike Mixon when he talked about, I didn't know that the higher gears can't take as much torque. So first, second, and third, and even fourth gear could handle a lot of torque. But when you go to 5, 6, and 7, there's actually less clutch packs and less material. So 600 pounds of torque on 5th, 6th, and 7th gear would actually make the transmission slip. Yeah, I didn't even know that. That blew my mind. I'm not an engineer. So this is why I listen to the guys who know what they're talking about. Blew my mind. I probably taught you guys something new, right? Blew your mind, right? I like answer you guys' questions. I was supposed to leave 8 minutes ago, and I'm still going, man. Because I just want to catch everybody who's coming in. And sometimes you guys go to my Instagram at boostinmotion. Shout out to my merch below. And you guys just send me so much questions sometimes. And I'm just like, yo, I really wish I just made a video and just talked to all of you guys about it. Okay, bend over. He said I always show up at the end. That's bend over. So you know what? Because I'm not gonna use your actual name, but yeah, bend over. You know what I mean. I'm just gonna hang out for a little bit longer. If you got any questions, just shoot it out. Pablo says 600 pounds of torque. That's a lot of torque. I mean, not torque. Okay, it's my accent. I'm just saying, not accent. I'm from New York, man. But torque, yes, 600-pound of torque. That's funny. That's funny. I just thought about torque, 600 pounds. That's a really fat ass. I just want you to know that. All right. But yo, Bendo, if you got a question, let me know. All right. Outside, I'm gonna say it again. If you're in the Atlanta, Georgia area next week, November 7th, between 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., me, Enthusiast POV, Speed Culture Studios, Nowhere TM, and Bradford White, he pinned it in the post. I pinned it. We're gonna have a car meet at those times in Atlanta. So if you live in North Carolina, South Carolina, maybe even Virginia, Ohio, and Florida, you live close and you want to come meet some enthusiasts and local Infiniti Nissan enthusiasts, meet us there at that location. If weather's good, we should be good. Also, bring your face mask, properly social distance as you feel comfortable. I want you guys to feel safe. I don't want you guys to feel like Boost wants to kill you guys. I just want to respect everyone's peace, because at the end of the day, we're still going through this event, and I want to get past it just like you guys. I realize that in the South, you guys really are just over this shit. In the North, they're like, oh my God, let me just bend over and let's just screw our lives over. But at the end of the day, people want to save lives. It is what it is. But now it's affecting all of America. We will get past this, unfortunately. Fortunately, Bulls come down to Miami. Yeah, Miami. I don't know yet. Depending on when we pass this event, I do want to go to Miami sometime next year because I like Miami. But it's probably going to be a meet in Southern Florida. I have a lot of following down there. A lot of people in the East Infiniti community, and it will be a huge meet whenever I do have a meet down there. So hopefully next year I'll get to go in the first 3 months or maybe 6 months. I really would like to go there. Okay, meme down. Okay, I appreciate that you came to show some love. Always like the information you sharing about this platform. I want to learn a lot before I jump into mods this time. Yeah, bend over, take your time, man. Listen, I gave you guys literally list on what you can do step by step, and a lot of you guys really appreciate that, because sometimes you don't know where to start. I'm not really a channel that teaches you about how to race your car or drift or anything like that. I'm not a channel that sits there and puts out content of racing other cars. I really wish I could. Unfortunately, where I live, it's not really a place for me to do so. But I try my best to just be like a regular guy like you guys that are watching. And you're like, yo, I like my Q50, I like my Q60, I like my G37, I like my 370Z. I know my car isn't a supercar, but I do want to modify it to my liking and my taste. And I hope that there's other YouTubers out there. I just want you guys to know there's other YouTubers out there who have other information and do things their style. And I'm always going to give love to Enthusiast POV, Speed Cultures, Nowhere TM. You got Fox Craze. I do watch his channel. It's different videos. There's a few other Q50 people, Q60 people that are growing. There's another Q60 owner. His channel's starting to grow up. He's from Cali. His channel's starting to grow too. So there are other people out there who are giving different useful information out there. And yo, go seek them out too. I want you guys to be able to just get a broad spectrum of different modifications you can do to these cars. And I think that this community is going to continue to grow because a lot more people are getting into the community. I'm just happy that I gave you guys those videos so that it can be like a staple in time. As long as there's a YouTube, these videos will be there for you guys to go look back on at if you want to build the car up or learn something new about the car. And I'm just glad I was there to help it. Like someone on my last live sat there and said they wish there was like a boostinmotion and an Audi crew. And I get it, because sometimes people don't document it enough, or they don't get down and deep enough. At the end of the day, I'm only resharing some information that I learned and stuff that I've done in my own experience so that you guys could feel more comfortable on your modding journey and understand what you learn from this channel for modification is not only for Q50s and Q60s and G37s. When you move on to other cars, it's technically the same chemistry. You know what I'm saying? Turbo cars have downpipes, so you look for the best affordable downpipes. Turbo cars have CATBACK exhausts and intakes and heat exchangers or air to air. You're going to learn something from this channel, and I hope that along your journey on modifying cars, no matter if it's just from a JB4 and a stock Q50 to a full-fledged Sen AMS 600 package with larger turbos, built transmission, that I hope that I gave you guys the best information that you want and need. And I'm glad I was there to help you guys. So outside of that, good places to go for a sport bumper. Amazon sells it and eBay sells it. They're perfectly fine. They're perfectly good replicas. They're not made out of no cheap ABS plastic. They use the same plastic that Infiniti uses. They're just using the same distributors. So go on eBay and Amazon. They have their distributors there. These are the same distributors that Infiniti uses. But outside of that, guys, I'm going to go now. If you guys want to support me, support the channel, there's a Teespring account below if you are on the app. Okay. If you guys have any more questions, wait, he said, okay, yeah. But I just want to make sure Ben over there had a question. If you guys have any more questions, you know what to do. Definitely hit me up at boostinmotion on IG, Facebook, and boostinmotion@gmail.com. Outside of that, guys, man, I love you guys so much. And once again, we're holding a meet, Atlanta, Georgia, November 7th from 2 to 6 p.m. with other YouTubers, with other people from the community. Come out, socially distance, wear your face mask, bring some hand sanitizer, and listen, it's going to be a good time as long as the weather's good. I'm hoping I get to meet you guys, almost all you guys that follow me. Outside of that, guys, you have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you guys so much for rocking with Boostin Motion. Appreciate it. I'm out.